It's passable, okay? This isn't terrible.
The best in local, regional, and national sports.
With no hidden agenda.
Primetime with Isaac and Sue on 1080 The Fan.
Hey, what a dude!
Hey.
What's up?
I don't know.
What's going on? You sound sad. What's the matter? It's nice out there. It's sunny out there.
It's chilly. There's a crisp.
Yeah, it's cold.
There's a crispness.
Feels like Canada.
Well, I mean, Canada, the United States, same thing, right?
Soon to be, bitch.
Soon to be. We're taking over, right? Canada, Mexico, Greenland. Let's go. Panama Canal. We got it all.
You ever been to the Panama Canal?
I have never been. I can't say that it's like high on my list. Now, if there was something else, I don't think I would ever go to the Panama Canal to go. I learned my lesson off of Mount Rushmore of going to a place specifically to see something underwhelming. But if I was in the neighborhood and there was like some sort of other excursion and they're like, hey, you want to go a little bit out of the way to see the Panama Canal, then the answer is that, yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even think I would go a little bit out of the way to see the Panama Canal.
It'd be like if you go see the Hoover Dam. You ever done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's fine.
Again,
I would not go out of my way to do that.
To see Hoover Dam?
Yeah. I mean, why?
Again, I'm not saying out of the way.
It's a good question.
You're in Vegas.
Why?
Maybe you're on your way to the Grand Canyon or whatever, and someone says
There are 1,700 things I would rather do in Vegas than go out to Hoover Dam.
All right,
that is fair.
That's what I'm saying, though. You're in Vegas, right? You're heading somewhere, and someone says, hey, half-hour detour. You want to go check out Hoover Dam. You're telling me you're like, I'll never have a chance to see Hoover Dam again. You don't go take a peek?
Is the chance to see the Hoover Dam like a thing that should be cherished?
Well, I don't know if it's a thing that should be cherished. Neither is the Panama.
It's a thing to do.
Neither is the Panama Canal. But
Vegas is the thing to do.
I know,
that way, when someone says, hey, have you seen the Panama Canal? You're like, yeah, I've seen it.
If Vegas weren't nearby and it was just in the middle of nowhere, sure, stop there. That sounds good.
He's speaking more like a family dad.
Yeah.
As opposed to a party boy like yourself. Like, I mean, people go to Vegas.
I'm taking my kids to Hoover Dam.
Well, okay, but if you took your kids to Vegas, I think you would take your kids to Hoover Dam.
I wouldn't take my kids to Vegas.
Well, right. This is what I'm saying, you ass. Is that Sook is talking about like dad things.
Yeah.
And you do not equate dad things to Vegas. Therefore, it is foreign to you to drive 45 minutes to Hoover Dam when you're already in Vegas. Most people don't do that. However, if you're a dad and you're just driving through that area, which, at some point in life you find yourself driving through Nevada for some reason, which we have. I saw Hoover Dam, and let me tell you, I will never see it again.
Well, me and my buddy were doing a kayak trip, and you have several choices of where to put in. And you fly into Vegas, and it was kind of cool. You go out on the old Colorado River there, and you cruise around for a couple days. And so you had several choices of where to put in. And one of the choices is at the base of the Hoover Dam. And we chose the base of the Hoover Dam. Why? Because of all the places you're going to put in, why not the Hoover Dam? And it was kind of neat to be sitting there at the base of that thing in your little paddle, being like, oh yeah, Hoover Dam. And then they tell you a little bit about it. And then you go about your merry way and you drink on the river. And for that brief moment, I thought the Hoover Dam was kind of cool. I think there's a lot of things like that are just...
Well, dams are generally all right. I mean, they're cool, but...
I think hot springs are kind of that way. I'm not going out of my way. But again, if it's nearby, maybe where they filmed something, like or Bruce Lee's grave if you're up in Seattle, something like that. I'm not going out of my way, but I'm
picking
there.
up what you're putting down.
Yeah, I saw Cobain's house. Was that like in Aberdeen? You can go see that. And it was like... it's like 10 minutes away from where we were at. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll go see where Kirk... And then you look at it and you're like, oh, yeah, it's Cobain's house. And then you go about your business.
Yeah, I could be I'm more along the lines of thinking of Buck, the way Buck does. I could be in Vegas.
Yeah.
On the Strip.
Yeah.
You could tell me that Hoover Dam is right where, like, the fountain at Bellagio is.
Sure.
And I wouldn't see it. I wouldn't go down there.
Yeah.
Just because you'd have better things to do.
Yeah, I don't need to see that.
I guess I'm one of those guys that I
have games to play.
I don't mind checking things off the box. And then once I do, like I said, my ultimate one was Mount Rushmore. There is no reason to see Mount Rushmore. There is not, other than to say, I saw Mount Rushmore.
And so like Mount Rushmore, I would contend that neither Mount Rushmore nor the Hoover Dam should even be on the list to be checked.
I think that's fair.
I mean, they're American institutions in their own right. If you're passing through, great, check it out. But they're not destinations, or they shouldn't be.
They say Yeah, it's like I think what Buck is doing here is he is questioning why these are American institutions in the first place.
Yeah.
No. That's not what I'm
Well, that's what
questioning
I'm
why
doing.
they're on the list of must-see
That's what I'm
boxes.
saying.
How about-
Who said that they were? That we were just told that they were,
modern marvels.
and like sheep, we went and saw them, and we were completely underwhelmed.
Let me ask you this: when you travel, is that the same thing? Like when if you're in Europe, and there's a lot of crap I've seen in Europe that is just as lame as the Hoover Dam and Mount Rushmore, but I saw it because you were there. I'm telling you, when you go and see Big Ben in Parliament, you're gonna say the only good part of seeing that is you get to do the European vacation. Kids, Big Ben, Parliament,
Yeah,
and then
I'm
that's
with-
it.
I'm
I'd
with
agree
you
with
on
that, but I think there are other sites that are worth the draw more so than those
Well,
places
But
would
you
be.
have to
Here's
go
the difference.
see it.
You don't really have to.
Really?
Yeah, you really.
You're
don't.
gonna go to London and not see.
I've been to London, and I can tell you, you can skip Big Ben in Parliament. You can skip it. Trust me. You just there's a bridge right there, and there's really nothing. There's nothing. It's nothing. It's stupid.
There's a little circle.
But the difference is when, like, when you travel in the U.S., like you're part of the culture.
Yeah.
When you travel outside of the U.S., a lot of people, including myself, travel for the experiences and the people and the culture
Yeah.
that is different from their own, not some stupid building with a clock on it. You know.
Well,
And in the U.S., you don't. I go to South Dakota, or is it North Dakota? Where the hell is it?
South.
South Dakota. I'd go to South Dakota.
I love that there was that moment of hesitation. I like it. It's a Dakota,
It's
and
in
that's
the
all. Just crappy industrial city, and like right on the front row there's a KFC and like a Pizza Hut, and I think there's one other, like just some American fast food, and I guess you can sit and eat a 2-piece combo and just stare at the Sphinx or the Great Pyramid, which I find fascinating. You're like, I'm gonna grab this chicken and look at a pyramid, but there's just things, I don't know, when I travel or if I'm going somewhere in the US, there's just something about checking boxes off. It's such a big world and there's so much to see. And I feel like I would like to at least lay my eyes on as much of it as I can.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And some of the stuff, like you end up like Auschwitz was that way for me. And that was a little bit longer. But again, it was like, I'm never going to have an opportunity to go into Poland. And do I really want to see it? But like the historical value of it. And then it's the most depressing place on earth. And I would never go back. But I did it. And like that stuff for me, the little bit that goes out of the way to put that experience in your hip pocket, I don't know. That stuff to me is somewhat worthwhile, even when it ends up like Mount Rushmore or Stonehenge. And you're like, God, this kind of sucked.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value in that type of experience specifically. I went to Berlin and went to a work camp outside of it that was about an hour outside of it, and the gravity of that place was really daunting and moving, and that's something that I would carve out time for because it's a piece of history. I don't necessarily feel the same way about
Stonehenge.
What
What about like the largest ball of twine in Minnesota? 'Cause
we go.
I'd
That
like
I would
to
go
lay
pay
my
to
eyes
see.
on that.
Well, you go. I'll meet you there. Hey, did you
How
know
big is it?
there's a fake Stonehenge? Did you know that?
No. Is it just as lame as the real Stonehenge?
Well, I would imagine. Yeah, it's a replica,
Really?
and it's in Washington, right up the gorge.
Get right the hell out of town.
It's in Goldendale, Washington.
Oh, I've driven by Goldendale many a time.
Well, right in there, you could have saved your money going to London. You could have just waltzed in there
See, that's
and
la-
been disappointed.
that's super lame.
Well, they're both lame. It's
Well,
the same thing.
I understand, but at least one's authentically lame, right?
I mean, I guess if you put value in that, to me, they're both lame. But you do you.
I would have thought you as a traveler and as a sightseer, I would have thought you would have been a little more.
I am less a sightseer and more I like to meet people
Yeah.
from different cultures and experience different cultures and be in places, but I don't necessarily love sightseeing. That's not my favorite. I mean, we do it. My
Yeah.
wife's into it. History and everything's cool.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite thing. My favorite thing is sitting down for a nice meal and then a couple drinks at the bar talking to the locals.
Absolutely.
That's what I love to do.
Yeah.
But, again, to each their own. If you want to go kayak Hoover Dam and look at Stonehenge, be my guest.
Well, I guess like Loch Ness it's in Inverness, Scotland, and it's not any different than any of the other lakes that are there, except that it's Loch Ness. And so to me, I went skinny dipping in Loch Ness. I thought that was kind of funny. Like the idea of like, oh, let's go see Loch Ness. And someone else might say, well, there's 800 lakes on the way to Inverness. Why didn't you stop and look at one of those? This is like it's having some whimsy. Putting a little whimsy in your life is it's a good thing. It just adds a little. It's a. I don't know,
Makes you more worldly and well-rounded.
well, and it's a trip, it's like you said, it's something to do. It's a little mini adventure that you can put in there and just a little, and without the end game of, all right, I'm driving to that place, then you never get the fun of kind of the adventure of getting there or all the weird stuff that can happen along the way.
All right, well, I'm glad we covered that. Thank you for being with us. We will be back tomorrow. 3 to 7. I'm just kidding. We're going to stay here.
Someone's saying there's a replica in Texas as well.
Yeah, see, this has me thinking, why don't we make a replica Mount Rushmore?
You probably should, because it would spare people.
Yeah.
That's I said, that's the gold standard of dumb things that I have ever gone to see. That's the only one that I'm really like, God, really?
Or maybe we need to make a replica of something outside of the country.
Yeah.
So maybe like,
The Eiffel Tower.
yeah, the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Well, that's kind of what Vegas is, right? Vegas is just like,
Yeah, but it's all fake.
yeah,
This
like an
is
actual,
real fake.
a real one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just tell the French to go, I put it somewhere in the Midwest,
Yeah.
So that there's no one like,
Yeah.
there's no reason to go there.
Why
but no.
doesn't the U.S. just take every landmark from around the
I
world
love it.
and make a replica? We have a ton of land.
Ton of space.
Make a replica,
Yeah.
and then Americans wouldn't even have to, not that they leave America anyway,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't even have to leave.
Hey, get this. Great Wall. I know where we can put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Idaho.
We want this wall, hey, there you build ourselves a great wall.
Make Oregon the second landmark state where we have a replica of everybody else's thing. You bring a ton of tourism here and, lots
That's
of
right.
business, lots
We
of jobs.
steal all the tourism from the Taj Mahal.
I like where
I
we're
mean, don't go all the way to the East Coast to see the Statue of Liberty. See one right
Yep.
here in Troutdale.
And then smoke a doob.
We're all
Sure.
We're all trying to make it that it's like everything like virtual reality. Like, why would I go see that when I can just look at it on my computer? That's, I don't know. It's kind of a sad
Now,
thing
the
for
thing
me.
you can't replicate is the culture,
Yes.
unless you have authentic people from that culture. And
And-
even then,
And that is the best part of traveling, is getting to experience different cultures, which is I've never understood the people that go across the world and then sit at an all-inclusive resort and never leave it. That's the one that I don't get, because you can do that anywhere. So why are you going to, Jakarta to sit at a Ritz somewhere and never leave the property? Never understood that.
Well, you guys want to talk some football?
Why not?
Up in here.
Not up in here.
Yeah, we're gonna talk some football.
The main justice.
Got a lot of good stuff. I think Deion's going to the Cowboys.
Does seem to be some traction behind that. I had
how
a
I
guy today in the gym try to talk my ear off for about 10 minutes,
About
as if I
that?
had some sort of inside information on it.
Well, you're a sports guy.
I didn't.
You're on the sports.
I didn't know what to tell him. I'm like,
You got to be smoking something over there.
the best part is he was up, like you could tell he has read, and I'm like, dude, you know more about this than I do. Why are you asking me?
All right. Well, where do we start?
Well, we talked about last night. Old Sam.
God,
Wah wah.
that guy's costing himself some money, isn't he?
So Troy Aikman said, now Aikman's getting killed for it.
Well, he's telling the truth.
Yeah, he cost himself a nice little chunk of money there, yes.
And it makes me sad.
It does make me sad. I think Sam is sad today.
Well, we'll start there. What's next for the Vikings? And is Deion off to Dallas? Coming up on the Fan. Tuesday out here.
Let's find more sun.
We found sun today.
Yeah.
It's sunny.
I think it's supposed to be dry all week, too.
Yeah, they say we're going to get some sun.
Yeah.
It's going to get a little warmer this
It
weekend.
means I got to get up and get the gutters done.
Yeah, it's a good weekend to do that.
Rat farts.
By warmer, like upper 40s.
Yeah.
Although, I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this, but back when we used to have a bunch of trees and stuff, but I'm a tree killer and we took them out.
Yeah.
When I had to clean the gutters a lot more often, I found that frozen mornings were better.
Really?
Yeah, because the stuff comes out in chunks
Oh.
as opposed to being sloppy and gross.
I do the, I just clear the downspouts and then I leaf blower. I get up on the roof and then
that's a good idea. Get that out of there.
Get it out of there, and then you have to get out some of the big stuff. So, but yeah, the frozen mornings might be you might be onto something there, but God, it's hard to want to do anything when like I have to walk the dog in the morning, and it's
cold out there.
Yeah, it's
tough on a white boy.
It is. It's not. It is not white boy winter. No. It's too damn cold.
Well, coming up, is there any doubt Deion is headed to Dallas? But first, what's next for my Vikings? Your Vikings, our Vikings.
It does put you in an interesting position because Minnesota, and we've talked about this with a handful of these teams. They're all. I mean, you don't win 14 games and be bad, right? Like the Minnesota Vikings are a good team, and unfortunately, when the season ends that way, now we make sweeping judgments about you. But in reality, you lost 2 games. You lost them in the worst fashion, and it kind of felt like both of those games you weren't supposed to win. I think you just found out kind of the rubber meets the road. One, Detroit is just better than you. And I don't think Minnesota was playing that good. And I think the Rams are a tough matchup. And we know that when the Rams are cooking, we've said this many times, the Rams' best is as good as anyone's in the NFL. I mean, they beat the Bills. And a lot of people think the Bills are the best team in the NFL. So while we're going to make these sweeping notions about the Vikings, the truth of the matter is you won 14 games. You're a really good football team. But this is the problem. Much like the Bills, I think you are a collection of really good players. Now, you're a collection of solid players. How about that? But I don't know, outside of Justin Jefferson, there's really not another marquee guy anywhere on that roster, especially at the quarterback position. So I think if you're Minnesota, the problem that you have is when you run into teams that are as talented but do have true difference makers, especially at a certain position, see quarterback. Matthew Stafford was about as good as you could be in that game last night. And Sam Darnold, the last 2 weeks, has not been. And I'm not putting that all on Sam Darnold. He gets sacked 9 times. And, some of that is on Darnold for patting the ball. Some of that may be on coaching, but some of that is just that Sam Darnold is not an elite quarterback. So if you're Minnesota, you are kind of at a crossroads here of, do you keep running this back and just say, hey, we're going to keep adding little pieces to this and hope that our team eventually gets good enough to overcome the deficiencies at quarterback? Or do we say, look, even if we have to take a step back, we're going to flush this thing and we're going to start over with J.J. McCarthy because we think even if we take a step backwards, ultimately he's the guy that can get us over the hump. So if you're Minnesota, you really are at a crossroads in figuring out what to do. Because even if you tag Darnold, it's what, 40-something million?
I wouldn't do that, would you?
I personally wouldn't.
They got him for $10 million this year.
Yeah.
And I think you see what that brings you. And it's nothing but disappointment.
Yeah.
And I know they had a good season, but come on. I mean, that quarterback ain't it. He's not it. So you drafted your guy. He got hurt. Go back to that.
Yeah.
There's no reason to pay Darnold. Just bring in Daniel Jones. He's the same thing.
Well, you did bring in Daniel Jones.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, just give him $5-10 million and call it good.
And I'd be interested to see what the market is for Sam Darnold. Like, if I could get Sam Darnold at 20,
I'm out.
If I could get him at 25.
Who else is at 20 and 25?
Well, I think that's the Geno Smith, maybe the Baker Mayfield sort of thing.
I'd take Geno over Darnold.
I would too. I like Geno, but these guys all...
I don't.
You don't. They all present the same kind of problem, whether you're talking about Baker, and I think Baker is the best of those. But the Baker Mayfields, the Geno Smiths, the Sam Darnolds, there's this new middle ground of quarterbacks that we found kind of the resurgent that you kind of go with.
Well, don't you think that's an interesting point. Like we didn't used to have this.
No.
It used to be
This is kind of a new thing.
You flamed out, you were done.
Yeah.
Well, now you got Baker resurgence,
Yeah.
Geno resurgence, Darnold resurgence. It's like maybe is coaching getting better that they're a little bit more malleable to getting these quarterbacks. And again, the quarterbacks like this eventually show their flaws, as you're pointing out. But I don't know. I think coaching has maybe gotten a little bit more adaptable to get these guys where they need to be, whereas it used to be that it just wasn't that way.
No, and we just immediately went down the road of get the
You're
hell out
outta
of here. And I just think I think people have realized that finding those quarterbacks is really hard. And with the right system and talent around you,
Well,
you can have a solid you can have a solid player,
Well,
but we all know that there's a limitation there.
they've always known finding the good stud quarterback is hard.
Yeah.
That's been the age-old thing. But now I think teams are just getting better. These offensive coaches are just getting better at coaching up the mid-tier guys.
Yeah.
And yet it's getting them nowhere.
Well, and I think the other one too is
I mean, 14 wins, I guess that's not nowhere.
yeah, I mean,
but
it's something. You're
it
a game
is, but
away.
it's so obnoxious to lose that way. Like, he's terrible. Holds on to the ball, throws it to the wrong team, can't find an open guy.
I think the other two things that come into this along your lines is, one, quarterbacks have become so expensive, right? That some teams are becoming hesitant, and they should, paying Daniel Jones and the Derek Carrs of the world, Kyler Murray, like you're and by the way, like, we're handing out like Jordan Love off of basically like 8 games. We're handing that guy the keys to the Corvette and all the money in the world. And I do think there are some teams that are very hesitant to do that. And we know that going down the rookie road, if you don't believe in a guy, is going to get you fired. Like, I think Kevin O'Connell is a really, really good coach. I think clearly what he did with Kirk Cousins, clearly what he did with Sam Darnold, that is a really, really solid coach. But if you decide to go down the rookie road, right, and you say, look, we don't have a franchise guy, F it, we're going to flush this, we're going to take a rookie. Dude, you are one bad choice away, and it's not even your choice. It can be your GM's choice. Anthony Richardson, for example, right? I think everyone liked Shane Steichen. I think Shane Steichen is a smart guy. I think he's a smart play caller. Anthony Richardson is probably going to get Shane Steichen fired next year. And I don't know if Shane Steichen loved Anthony Richardson. I don't know if he went to bat for him. I don't know, but he's going to get him fired. Bryce Young got someone fired in Carolina. Now, he may actually end up being okay on the back end. He showed some real promise there, but that's the scary part, is that even if you think going the rookie road is your best chance to elevate, you're not going to be around to see it. So I do think you have more GMs and coaches that are like being the Todd Bowles of the world that are like, dude, we can't. And I know Kyle Trask is not the answer, but like, he was a quarterback they drafted. You can't afford to turn to Kyle Trask and be like, hey, if it doesn't work in 2 years, then we'll go find something else. You're out of a job. So I do think you're going to see more of this Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold kind of reclamation project for some of these squads, to try to keep their head above water and save a job and get some wins. But ultimately, you're right in that unless you have a truly elite team that's built around them, and I mean elite, you are probably going to end up falling short to more talented counterparts and teams that are just as talented as you, or a matchup problem and that has, a better player at that position.
I think if I'm Minnesota, I'm not bringing Darnold back. You've seen that game. I think I'm going after, I'm hoping McCarthy is healthy. Mm-hmm. And then I think I might make a run at Rodgers.
Yeah. I mean.
And I wouldn't say that for a lot of teams, but for Minnesota, I would.
Relax.
Well, the idea is that, I think Rodgers is cooked, but you're right in that.
Well, we thought Peyton Manning was cooked.
That's true.
And Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl.
He was kind of cooked when he won, but
he won a Super Bowl
with a defense. He had nothing. to do
okay,
with
but you can build that too. This is what I'm saying. Like, don't minimize that.
Yeah.
That is a thing. Peyton Manning, a Hall of Fame quarterback, not what he once was, went to a team with a good defense, and they implemented him perfectly, and they took his experience and his know-how and he's been in the playoffs so many times. He was able to guide them to a Super Bowl victory. It can be done. There is a path. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers can sling it better than Peyton Manning. Aaron Rodgers Aaron Rodgers can sling it better now than Peyton Manning could when he was in Denver.
Yes, that last year or two that he was there with the neck problem, it was.
So what you're
it was
buying
rough.
is you're buying Rodgers. This is the end of it. So you're never going to get him cheaper.
No.
You got a guy who sounds like wants to keep playing and try to win one more.
Gives you another bridge gap for McCarthy.
Exactly. He's not going to be there long. You just give it it's a 50 times better option than what you just tried in Sam Darnold. And he's got that playoff experience and pedigree that could help you get further when you meet the better teams late, like Sam Darnold cannot do and did not do.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
I'd do that if him or you could run Kirker's back, but I don't know where that gets you. It's either McCarthy or Rodgers for me if I'm Minnesota.
Yeah, well, to me, it's probably McCarthy, and then if you don't feel that he's going to be ready or that scares you, I guess you can bring in a veteran guy like that and try to buy yourself one more year of sitting him. But even if McCarthy is a step back at the beginning from Sam Darnold, to me, if you're Minnesota, you need to turn the page, and you need to progress. You need to.
You
progress.
Can't go back with Darnold.
I don't think so.
No way.
As good as he had a year, and I'm telling you, go back and watch some of his film. There was more of this we've saw the last 2 weeks that was kind of littered throughout that was covered up by good coaching, good O-line play, and honestly, some good fortune. Every game that he played in, there was 4 or 5 throws where you're like, oh my God, that's the old Sam Darnold. And it never really came back to bite him in the ass until these last 2 weeks. And by the way, we forgot to mention the best reclamation project in the NFL because it's sitting in Detroit right now. Like, he was cast off. He was dead. I mean, he was viewed as an absolute failure after that run in with the Rams. And, he had a bunch of money, and he was viewed as
golf.
When he got to Detroit, it was like, okay, we just have to eat this for a year or two, and it's going to be a full reset until we can find our quarterback. And it was just a salary dump. And he is not one of the top, 3 guys in the league. He's not Lamar. He's not Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes. But you're going to argue that he isn't having the last couple seasons, an absolute career resurgence. He's better than he ever was in LA when he took him to the doorstep of Super Bowl. And kudos to Ben Johnson in Detroit for giving Jared Goff a second chance. And he has rewarded that.
So Aaron Glenn broke Sam Darnold.
Yes.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
And so much for a 14-win team playing on the road being unfair.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You didn't even sniff the Rams. And by the way, they didn't even have a home game.
No.
They had to move their home game.
With all of that distraction
you got lucky,
going on.
And you still got smoked.
Yeah, you got drilled.
Get out of here with that.
Yeah, there's no more
Vikings.
I would say this. I don't know if there has been a worse, and I'd have to go back and look, but just off the top of my head, I can't recall a 14-win team ending this way, so sudden, so brutal, and now with as much of a what the hell do we do now?
Completely turned on a dime.
It is.
That's what Troy Aikman said last night.
Yeah.
2 weeks, he said, made a lot more money. He had a lot more money in his pocket 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Darnold.
And
now it's like, who wants him?
They flashed a stat last night when they were struggling early that they had like 21 straight drives without a touchdown going back their last couple games, and it was their longest streak of the season of not having a touchdown.
Yeah, it's a rough go.
Playing your worst at the worst time.
It's a rough go. But if you're Minnesota and you move on and you got McCarthy, you still have plenty of room to keep tweaking this roster. And if you hit on McCarthy, Minnesota should be, and again, it's a big if, we haven't seen him, but if you hit on JJ McCarthy,
you're fine.
You're fine. Not only are you fine, but you are now set up in an absolute catbird situation here over the next handful of years to really be one of these young, fun teams to go along with, the Texans and like the Commanders, and maybe if you want to throw the Chargers in that, the Broncos. There's an opportunity here for Minnesota, and it just boils down to, did you hit on JJ McCarthy? And I think if you're Minnesota, you have to roll that dice and see.
All right, is there any doubt Deion's headed to Dallas? We'll get to that next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on the Fan. On the hardwood tonight, the Blazers back in action hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Matisse Thybulle and Jeremy Grant remain out for Portland. Denny Avdia, Robert Williams, and Delano Banton all listed as questionable. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. The Blazers, a 5-point home favorite. Down in Corvallis, Beavers head coach Trent Bray says he will take over defensive coordinator responsibilities after DC Keith Hayward Jr. resigned on Sunday. Meanwhile, former Beavers quarterback Giovanni McCoy, who left in the transfer portal, has now committed to play at Texas State University. In Eugene, another big pickup for Dan Lanning and the Ducks out of the transfer portal as they earn a commitment from USC offensive lineman Emmanuel Pregnon. The 6'5", 320-pounder was the top-ranked interior lineman in the portal, and he chooses the Ducks over the Texas Longhorns. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Well, we thought that because he said explicitly that he did not want to coach in the NFL, that he would not work in the NFL. And so why would we view it any other way?
So we thought that, but then today.
Mm-hmm.
And
I read through that bull junk you wrote.
he posted to Twitter. He said, to hear from Jerry Jones is truly delightful, and it's intriguing. I love Jerry and believe in Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
After you hang up and process it and think about it, it's intriguing. But I love Boulder, and everything there is about our team, the coaches, our student body, and the community. Yeah. And that's it. That's all he said.
Yeah. By the way, there seems to be a lot of
He's
smoke
out.
and people close to that saying that those conversations are going on, and it may just be how much money that Jerry can throw at him.
He's out of there.
I mean, look, I think a lot of people thought that Deion was not long for Colorado. Wouldn't shock me. You know, he loses Hunter. He loses his son. You know, someone comes calling. I just didn't think it'd be the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm not certain how this is going to work. I mean, clearly, Deion Sanders, at this point, give the man his flowers, right? He did a nice job at Colorado. Did a nice job at Jackson State. Did a nice job at Colorado. This is an entirely different ball game that you're talking about here. One, Deion is not a offense or defensive coordinator guy. He is not an X's and O's guy. He is a culture builder. Will that culture work in Dallas? I mean, obviously, he knows what it takes to play at that level. He's one of the greatest players of all time. But will his shtick, will the God shtick, will all of that stuff, does that work?
Well, I would argue that they already have a culture there that is not conducive to championships.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to say it's not a good culture because every coach they've ever had has been a winning coach with the exception of one.
It is not a bad. I think times we do the bad franchise, bad owner, and that's just not true.
It's not the best.
No.
Owner gets in the way, has its problems, but they've had some good teams. They just, I think there is there's just a lot going on there. I think there's a lot. It's more complicated than some franchises in terms of the noise and the outside influences and just kind of the stardom and just being a Dallas Cowboy, right? It's just harder. I think it's harder to win there. I do, because of what they've created. It's the biggest team probably in North American sports besides the Yankees.
Yeah.
You
well,
know?
actually, I think it is now officially the most valuable team in
Yeah. Well, and he's, that's the other thing is Jerry's all about money and he's created this value, but does that help? I mean, are you really honed in on winning? I don't know. Look, I think it's going to be hard for anybody to win a championship there because it just hasn't happened since what? What year was that?
God, what was last year? Switzer won. That would have been what,
94?
Yeah, I was going to say mid-90s.
They haven't won a title since. Dude, how many playoff wins do they have since then? I mean, that tells you all you need to know.
I think 2 or 3
about the franchise. And so I don't know if Deion means anything other than what the other coaches have meant. It's like they had Parcells, they didn't win. They had Wade Phillips, they didn't win. They had McCarthy, and he did. It's like they're all the same. So he'll probably be pretty good because he's Deion and he knows what he's doing.
And it's not a terrible roster.
No.
Someone said this, and I wish I could remember who it was.
But he's also not going to win a title, and he's going to get fired in 4 years because it's not going to be enough.
I forget who it was. One of the NFL writers that I follow had a really good, I thought it encapsulated it really well, and I'll paraphrase because I don't remember it word for word, but they said that Dallas, actually, when you look at it, is to its bones is a really solid franchise. They evaluate well. They draft real well. You look at the guys that they have brought in over the last 15 years. I mean, Hall of Fame guys that they've drafted. They've done a nice job in the draft and bringing in guys from offensive linemen to wide receivers to tight ends. They found Dak, whatever you think of Dak. They found Dak in the middle of rounds. They found Tony Romo, right? Who I believe was a free agent. I don't even think he was drafted. I think he was unsigned free agent. Ezekiel Elliott was taken in the draft and had a very, very nice productive career. I mean, they have done, and Micah Parsons and they've done a really nice job, but they said it's the margins, right? It's in the margins and the little bit of dysfunction, from refusal to make changes, from stubbornness to the inability to get ahead of contracts, to be thinking one step ahead. And they said that is what has kept Dallas from being a truly elite franchise, but it is.
And Deion doesn't change that.
And Deion does not change
That's
that.
what I'm saying. Like Dallas just has built in walls,
Yeah.
and they're tough to break down. And Deion's not going to change that. I don't know who would change that. I don't know if Belichick would change that.
It would be tough. The only thing that I think would really turn is if he, and I'm talking about Jerry, ceded control. And he has to some extent
I thought his kid was
to his
more in
kids,
charge.
yes. But if he kind of let someone come in and really be a true chief of football operations, a true GM, and had this synergy, that would be the best thing for Dallas to do, is to go find that and change that structure. But you're right, that's not going to happen. So I think there will always be some limitations put on Dallas, and they're going to need to be able to overcome that. And the biggest problem I see in all of this, and you know me, I really like Dak. I think Dak is criminally underrated, and Dak wins a lot of games. But this is what we were talking about a little bit with Minnesota. He's not elite. He is not a guy that can elevate and cover up all the holes. And that is going to be a problem for them, that they don't operate well in the margins. They don't do a good job of filling out in the cracks. And they now have a quarterback that makes an ton of money, that is not one of those gravitational players that can pull a franchise along. And so I do think that Dallas, better or worse, is going to be stuck in a little bit of the mud, spinning their tires. And Deion, whether he works or not, the father figure, hard-handed, guy, I just don't think any of that matters. And
well, that's what I was saying. So I feel like Deion, in a way, could hurt them, because he's exactly what the Cowboys are. And that is, and I'm not saying he's not good, because, again, the Cowboys have been good.
Yeah.
He is flash.
Yeah.
And he is distraction. And he's a big personality. Yeah. He is sizzle. And that, you could argue that is exactly what you do not need in Dallas. You already have too much of that.
Yeah, you need a little more substance. You need a little more backbone.
Or you could argue that he fits perfectly, and, he's the guy like Pete Carroll going to USC, who brings in that last bit of culture that does make a difference. You could argue it either way. I don't know. I think it's an interesting move if he does it. And I would like to say this about Deion. At least he's honest. He said, hey, I've talked to Dallas. And it is intriguing. What other coach says that? Yeah. Every other coach gets all bristly and is like, "Oh, I'm not going anywhere." How can you say that? These reporters. No, at least he's being honest. So give him that.
Yeah, I will.
Well, it was like 3 months ago. He said he was 10 toes down in Boulder.
Yeah,
but
well, they all say that.
All say it.
Right?
It's changed, but you're right. At least he's acknowledging it.
Like somebody said, if Deion goes to Dallas, we should come to the understanding that his word means nothing. Like every other coach ever, This is no different. What he is doing is no different than any other coach.
Because $11 million will change your mind.
And he probably wasn't thinking about leaving Boulder, and then Jerry calls him, and Jerry can probably be pretty seductive. Yep. Cowboys, I guarantee, are pretty seductive to a guy like Deion. Yep. And all of a sudden, money talks. Yeah. And you're like, wait a minute. Yeah. He lives down there. Yep. And, oh, by the way, did they talk about maybe bringing in Shador?
I don't know how you get up there to get him, but yeah.
Well, you make a trade.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Either that or you get your kid to play hardball, pull an Eli Manning.
I don't know. It's stranger things have happened, I would say that.
And no state tax either. Money goes a long way in Texas. And Deion likes money.
So if you had to bet right now, is he the next coach of the Cowboys? I think they hire him.
Gosh.
I think they hire him.
The fact that they botched the McCarthy thing and didn't get a chance to talk to like Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, what else are they going to do?
I absolutely could see it. I just don't.
We got to hire Kellen Moore?
Well, supposedly they're talking to him. I just don't.
Ew.
If they were smart, they would go find the next really bright offensive mind. But they're dumb. They're right.
Tom Brady's smart. I don't even see what he said down at the Raiders. He's all over Ben Johnson.
Yes.
Tom Brady's not dumb.
No.
Hey,
Jerry Jones, dumb.
And Jerry Jerry and company effed around with Mike McCarthy and didn't even get a chance to talk to Ben Johnson because they had to do it during the Lions bye week.
That's why I'm calling him dumb.
Yeah, that's
absurd.
It's really ignorant knowing that you're going to have a head coaching opening and you didn't get a chance to talk to the two probably hottest commodities on the market. That's the margins.
Decent point here on Buckley saying that Deion said he had 10 toes in Boulder.
He's only got 9.
He doesn't even have 10 toes.
That's true. That's true. But didn't he say that? Those were his words.
I
I
do
believe.
think he said that, but
So he was lying.
Was he being cheeky?
Because he doesn't have 10 toes.
9 toes down.
He knew what he was doing.
Or does he have 8?
I think 8.
Might even be 7.
Yeah.
I think
Let's
it's
go
8, though.
6.
No, I think it's 8.
Okay, we got to go. Up next is our college football chunk play. We're going to have a head coach / defensive coordinator.
Yes.
On the
Actually, we are.
Hello?
Yeah. By the way,
That's
8 toes.
next on the Fan.
The Fan is live on
either promotes or goes and hires an unofficial defensive coordinator to go along with that.
Is this just the way they can save money? Because you don't have technically a defensive coordinator salary on the books?
It's possible.
But you can pay somebody at a lesser salary and a lesser sort of title to do most of the defensive work, although he calls the plays.
And he obviously wants to call the plays. Maybe he feels with the limited budget that he can't go out and get a defensive coordinator that he particularly wants. So in that case, it would be easier to just take it over. But there will be someone else.
Sure.
Like, you can't be a head coach and run one side of the ball.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty
completely.
ballsy. He's like, I'll just do it.
But
whoa, all
I
right.
mean, there's coaches like, Lincoln Riley calls plays, Jeff Libby calls plays. But most of the time, Heupel is a play caller. But most of the time, they still have. I don't know anyone off the top of my head that doesn't have a coordinator, even if they call offense or defensive plays. So,
Right.
I mean, this isn't that unusual. It's a little weird. But again, I would assume that someone will get the title of assistant defensive coordinator, and because like during practices and stuff, like you just as a head coach, you have just too many roles. You got too many. You got to have your hands in too many pies to sit there and do everything that a defense or an offensive coordinator would do.
What if they just decide to punt every time they get the ball and only focus on defense?
That would be interesting.
And try to win the game with defensive scores. Eliminate one side of the ball.
Well,
you won't turn it over that way.
That is something that I have not heard before.
But they gave up like 30 points a game, so
Well, that's maybe what
something's got to change.
That's what he said. Yeah, well, that's it. Hey, we gave up 30 points a game. Let's focus only on defense.
I'll do it my damn self.
Yeah,
I'll do it myself. We will punt every time they punt to us. We'll just punt it right back, and we'll put the defense out there. We'll have all defenders on our team, no offensive guys.
I like
so
it.
we'll be deep.
It's like a spring scrimmage sort of thing.
We will lead the league we will lead the country in fewest turnovers because we'll never have the ball, and maybe we score a few times, block some kicks, return some touchdowns for interceptions for touchdowns.
So their transfer
scoop and score fumbles.
The transfer quarterback and the 4-star tight end that they just got are probably not going to be happy about that.
Give them back.
Yeah,
we don't need them.
They can go play on the other side. I mean, I'm sure Malik Murphy can play some DB or something. Put him at safety. It'll be an interesting year for Oregon State. I know
that's a weird one.
Well, I think there was a lot of optimism coming into this year from a certain group of Oregon State fans that the schedule and what you had coming back was going to be enough, and they kind of thought maybe a Washington State-like year. Well, it didn't end well for Washington State. And then it went really bad in the offseason, and Washington State ended up kind of where Oregon State was. Like, Oregon State kind of got gutted just a year before Washington State did. And now you're kind of left with the aftermath of it, and now we get to see where Oregon State settles in. And so I think last year was a weird transition year, and now you know where the conference is headed. You kind of know what you're up against, and now you got to plant the feet and start, working towards trying to be the next Boise State.
Well, the Ben Gulbranson era is over.
Yeah.
But I would argue for those still griping about Oregon State's lot, and I get it, it's not good.
No.
They did get a top 5 quarterback in the portal.
Yes.
They paid $1.5 million for him.
Mm-hmm. So they got some dough, and they got $50 million coming the next 2 years
exactly.
from the Rose Bowl.
Exactly. Yeah. So come on, man. You got to make do with what you got, and they seem to be doing that.
Yeah, look.
I mean, that's a hell of an upgrade at quarterback.
Yeah, you can sit here and cry all you want, but the fact of the matter is life goes on, and you did see a team that is in your league. Now, granted, it's a little bit different because with the transition, but essentially in your league, in Boise State, made the college football playoff. So, and I don't hear Boise State crying. Boise State
Actually, you do.
Well,
we'll get to that next.
Valid point. Damn it. How about this? Boise State is at least making the most of a crappy situation and realize it's all you can do.
It's all you can do.
It's all you can do. And because let's be honest, like 90% of the teams right now are crying and bitching and moaning. Even the really good ones.
Yeah.
Even USC, because Oregon took another one of USC's best players, and so they're crying. Like there's only a handful of teams that aren't getting the pitchfork right in the old keister at this point.
All right, our college football chunk play continues next. Did the Ducks tamper? We'll be right back on The Fan.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on the Fan. On the hardwood tonight, the Blazers back in action hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Matisse Thybulle and Jeremy Grant remain out for Portland. Denny Avdia, Robert Williams, and Delano Banton all listed as questionable. Tip-off is at 7. The Blazers a 5-point home favorite. Down in Corvallis, Beavers head football coach Trent Bray says that he will take over defensive coordinator responsibilities after former DC Keith Hayward Jr. resigned on Sunday. Meanwhile, former Beavers quarterback Giovanni McCoy, who left in the transfer portal, is committed to play at Texas State. And down in Eugene, another big pickup for Dan Lanning and the Ducks. out of the transfer portal as they earn a commitment from USC offensive lineman Emmanuel Pregnon. The 6'5", 320-pounder was the top-ranked interior lineman in the portal, and he chooses the Ducks over the Texas Longhorns. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Hear this, right now.
Welcome.
Primetime with Isaac and Suk.
What is going on up here?
I never know, man.
Unbiased.
Shut your mouth.
Uncompromised sports talk without the
I
sugarcoating.
hope you're happy. You wasted everyone's life for 30 seconds.
Isaac Rupp and Jason Sakanik.
Now shut up and let me do my job.
The best in sports coverage.
This is gonna be great.
This is Primetime with Isaac and Suk on 1080 The Fan.
All right, welcome back. Nice little Tuesday. Our night just got a little better because TGL is on.
Thank God.
Tomorrow Golf League. They are introducing the players as we speak.
There's Tiger.
Tiger's out there.
And all their seat fillers that they have confirmed. No one wanted to go.
Venus Williams is there. Serena Williams is there, looking good.
And her hubby, the Reddit dude.
Yeah, It's a weird match.
This
Those
thing
two,
is
but-
so stupid.
But now they got the smoke. What do they call that? The
The fog machine or whatever.
yeah, they got the coming into the fog.
Hey, Tiger's looking buff though.
Yeah, he looks like he slimmed down a little bit.
know.
Looks tired as hell, boy.
Well, yeah.
That dude.
He looks a little haggard.
He always has done that though.
He burns the candle at both ends.
He clearly does.
Yeah. This guy
You can see it in his face.
probably doesn't relax much anymore.
Tiger. What he's got to worry about, other than that lawsuit.
I think he just worries about everything, which is why he's Tiger Woods.
He's getting sued by Puma.
Yeah,
because of his logo.
Of his logo,
Look at him strutting out
which
there.
does look a little bit like the Puma cat.
By the way, I'm betting against his team. He's old. I'm going with the Morikawa team.
I could care less.
We'll keep you posted on the play-by-play here.
Please.
Look at
please.
Tiger. Look at him. He's fired up.
I'm pissed off because someone logged out of the other TV app, and so I can't watch hockey right now. So I'm being forced right now to choose between the NBA
TGL, baby.
and TGL.
Oh no, they were hurting you so bad.
And maybe
So
I'll watch Texas A&M and Kentucky.
I was talking about the Boise State griping. You said Boise State's not bitching. Oh, they're bitching.
Yeah, they're bitching. Yeah.
And that was something we missed last week, but it was Dirk Cutter, their defensive coordinator, who has since left. He's retired because he's a baby. He's like, I can't keep up in this NIL world. These old guys, they don't want to deal with this new crap.
No, they don't. That's what I said.
It's a young man's game.
It is 100% a young man's game.
Anyway, he said that the Ducks offered one of their best defensive players a $700,000 payday to transfer to Oregon after the season. That was during, or I think it was like right after their loss to Penn State or something.
Yeah.
Which he calls tampering.
Well, everyone's
You can't do that.
Well, actually, you can because there's no NCAA. The NCAA literally said there will be no investigations into NIL until all this stuff is settled. So you can tamper. So sorry, Boise State, and sorry, Jim Moore and everyone else. Look, everyone's tampering. And yes, if you have a good player, someone is going to call them and be like, would you like more money to come here? And by the way, this goes for Georgia. This goes for... You don't think how many people have tried to convince Quinn Ewers to come play for them next year? And there's talk now that he is going to go to the NFL, but Quinn Ewers isn't coming back to Texas. It's like Carson Beck wasn't coming back to Georgia. There's paydays out there to be had, and, people are going to kick the tires on it. And you get an agent, especially now that agents are involved. How easy is it to just go to an agent and be like, yeah, it's,
Now, is that technically not tampering if you have a third party?
I don't know.
Reach out for you?
I don't know, and I don't care because everyone is being tampered with. Every single player in college football is probably at some point in their NIL career has been tampered or is tampering on behalf of someone else. All these guys are interconnected. So this is the same thing with recruiting. I mean, they were talking about how, like at Oregon, right? Players recruit other players. And if you don't think that some of that is about, hey, man, look at the money we get here. Well, and I don't know what to tell you.
Well, the Duckies just got a USC offensive lineman today.
Yeah, I got the number one interior offensive lineman in the portal. 2-year starter at USC, big physical specimen, and it's kind of raw. He's got room to grow, but again, when you're the number one interior O lineman and they choose Oregon over Texas, I don't know if he was tampered to leave the portal or he just realized I don't want to beat USC and someone can pay me more and I could probably go play for a national championship, but he's in Eugene now.
His name's Emmanuel Pregnon.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to go to the NFL. So they thought he was going pro.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't.
He's a big man.
6'5", 320, they said?
Yes. And he's got some room to work. And this is kind of what I really like the NFL is he could have gone to the NFL and there is a lot of room to grow. And instead of taking your lumps in the NFL, he gets another year to grow or two, and he's going to make a bunch of dough. So I think it is producing better college players, better college teams, and it's going to produce better NFL players. I think it's good.
Who's the only...
And I think, by the way, he started, he transferred to USC from somewhere. I think it was... I want to say it was like Wyoming or something. So I think he's doing the 3-team thing.
Who's the only top 20 portal quarterback yet to commit?
The only top 20 portal
I have the answer to this, by the way.
QB that hasn't committed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. We were talking
because they've all pretty much
figured
out where they're going.
I'm trying to think.
One guy, very controversial guy.
Very controversial guy, huh?
Yeah. Doesn't have a home.
I can't say that I know because we were looking through and I don't remember seeing a bunch of big names.
Matthew Sluka.
Oh, that
the UNLV kid, yeah.
Oh, no, I saw he did commit.
Where'd he go?
He's going to James Madison.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
No, I think it's his old offensive coordinator took the head coaching job there. Yeah, I saw it today on my timeline. He was wearing like a crown and a cape. I don't know what James Madison's logo is, but
look at that.
He was dressed up as some sort of...
Boy, that's hot off the presses. That was just today.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Matt Sluka.
Yeah.
James Madison.
Aren't
they a pretty good program, though?
That's where Indiana boy came from.
Rourke?
No. The coach.
Signetti.
Yeah.
Signetti.
That's where he came and took all the James Madison players. I don't know what Madison did, but yeah, he had it rolling there. And Sluka was the guy, if you don't know, he quit on his UNLV team and said, I was promised money. They didn't deliver it, so I'm going to sit out. And I don't know what the bag he got from James Madison, but, it couldn't have been that much because no one else offered him. No offense, but, when you end up at James Madison, something tells me that people weren't beating down your door.
So the top quarter, according to 24/7, 247, whatever you call it, sports, the top transfer QBs for 2025, Carson Beck went to Miami. John Mateer went to Oklahoma. Luke Kromenhoek went to Mississippi State.
That was the Florida State kid, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fernando Mendoza went to Indiana.
That's the Cal kid.
The guy who went to Oregon for like 3 weeks and then left.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to pronounce his name.
Yeah, the Polynesian kid.
Jaron Sangapolutele.
There you go.
He is going to Cal. And Malik Murphy went to Oregon State.
Yeah.
Those are your top quarterbacks in the portal.
Yeah.
And Wegman, if you care about him, he went to Houston. Miller Moss, Louisville. Jackson Arnold, Auburn. Darian Mensah, Duke. He's the guy from Tulane.
And a lot of people thought he was the best quarterback, and that just is odd that he ended up at Duke, of all places.
You know what's a good get? Is Salter. He went to Colorado, the Liberty kid. That's a pretty good get for Colorado.
Caden Salter, he can play. He can run.
That's a good get.
And Colorado got they got some big USC flip.
Yeah, well, they're all going to be out of there once Deion goes to the Cowboys. But maybe the Ducks will get Salter now. Oh no, you don't want him because they've got Dante Moore.
You got Dante Moore, and there's the rumor out there that is, and maybe it's Quinn Ewers, maybe it's someone else, but there was a rumor floated by legitimate people that were saying that Notre Dame basically has a kid ready to go. They're just waiting until the college football playoff is over. And
what does that mean?
Basically, they've tampered and they have an agreement with someone.
Why do they have to wait till it's over?
Well, I think the idea is they don't want to cause any ripples, or the idea was that maybe the person that they're going to get is in the college football playoff, C. Quinn Ewers.
Well, but he's out now.
I understand.
Make the announcement, baby.
Notre Dame
right
is not-
before Will Howard suits him up in the final.
So we'll
say, your yesterday's news. We're taking the quarterback that we just beat.
Because remember, you can. There is another portal window that's still coming up after spring ball, so you can't enter the portal right now. But
what?
You can make your intentions known and then enter the portal, which is why they got to figure all this crap out and come up with a streamed.
Hey, I have news on that today.
Streamlined.
There's news today.
Yeah,
just today.
There's some.
There's news on that.
Proposals.
A variety of proposals, and we'll get to that next. College football chunk play on the Fan. I was just talking to the boss, Ryan Cooley, the new leader, our new fearless leader, Ryan Cooley, Dr. Cooley.
About the Duxo line?
What? No.
Oh. I just thought you were carrying on. I know how you love hot guard talk, so thought you and Cooley were chopping it up there. About
I'm going to bring this to you later.
Ducko lineman.
And I'd like everyone's opinion on this. But there is a beef here in the office.
There is.
There is. Well, it's not really a beef, but
it's like a Cold War.
It's a battle, a little bit of a battle, and it's being painted in a way that makes me uncomfortable.
I'm now interested in this. I don't like that this has now been thrown out and we're not going to get to address it.
Well, I can tell you right now, but we can talk about it more in depth later.
Yeah.
There is so, I have my water bottle here.
Yes.
And a lot of people carry their emotional support water bottles from now, out there.
Yeah. I refuse, but,
So in order to fill that up, I got to go all the way back to the kitchen.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
It can be.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they were hurting you so bad. Oh, no.
And yeah, look, it's not a huge complaint, but it's like, okay, that's way back in the back. And then if I also have to squirt, that's the recipe for being late for a short break because Cooley didn't sell a break.
That's true.
It goes drip.
And
drip,
you do have to pee a lot.
Drip.
Yeah.
You have a...
And I drink a lot of water.
Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable.
So I said, hey, what about putting a little water station, a little water, what do you call those?
Like a little cooler.
Yeah, right out here outside the studio.
Yes.
The stewed.
You've been on that for many a moon.
Since we first moved into this place.
Yeah. Also a bucket for you to pee in. Just right there.
Well, we thought about a urinal in here with a little curtain.
I like it.
And, yeah, it's like, it's become a kind of, like I'm being painted as a diva for asking for this.
Interesting.
And I'm kind of like, well, is that really is that really a diva-like request? Like Joey, our fine engineer said, are you really going to acquiesce to that, to Ryan Cooley? And it's like, well, like you guys spent, how much money did they spend on furniture in this place that no one uses?
I believe, and this is an unofficial count, but I'm not just like talking out of my arse. I believe that there are 6 chairs to every person that works in this building.
Well, how about these little private phone booth things that they put
$10,000 a pop?
How about the waddly little sticks that are used as barriers?
So
like, what are those things?
Right. Okay, so they spend all this money, but yet one of the hosts asked for a practical water station closer to the studio, and he's a diva?
Well,
like, what the hell, man?
Now, I will defend you on this.
Please do.
And that it does seem like a fair and reasonable request.
Thank you.
But devil's advocate here.
Okay.
I can see where the untrained eye would be like, seriously, your fancy ass can't walk 45 seconds down the hallway.
Well, it can.
To get water.
Whiny bitch.
I'm just saying, I can see where someone who didn't understand your urination habits, the confines of limited breaks, and then having to walk, I can see where someone that's not aware of that would think that is kind of a diva-like. And let's be honest,
but
you do have a reputation around here.
He's a bitch.
Of being a little hoity-toity.
Well, that's fine, but this doesn't fall into that category.
But I think to some people it does.
Well, but they're idiots because if you know how little time we have during a break, well, most people can suck it. Like, just all you have to do is host one show.
Yes.
I'm going to put Joey in here one day to fill in for me, and then he will understand why I'm asking for. He'll be like, Rob, you were so right about that. Why that would be really nice out
But
there.
he probably won't, because I usually don't pee for an entire show, and if I do, it's one time. You pee like 8 times, and I think therein lies the problem, is most people...
Well, I had to squirt.
They can't relate because they're not on your pee schedule. So
Somebody said, can you just bring a water bottle? Are you people listening? Are you paying attention?
You do have.
I have a water bottle.
Yes.
I'm asking for a water station right outside the Studes.
Were you listening to the dude's story?
So I can fill it up rather than run back to the kitchen. And then, by the way, you know what else happens? Because we're very popular.
Yes.
Is you go out there and somebody inevitably stops you and wants to talk to you.
Yes.
And so you can't be rude and be like, shut up, I have to go back to the Stude. You'd be like, like sometimes I'll say, walk with me back to the studio, and then we'll talk on the way back because I got to get back there because I got a show to host.
Now, that water bottle is probably what, 20 ounces of refreshment.
Yeah, maybe.
Give or take, right?
Probably 20.
20.
Maybe 24.
Okay. Do you go through more than one of those a show?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh my God. Yeah, I'll drink 4, maybe 5. I like water.
Yeah, that. Someone else on the text line did say, "How about not drinking 7 gallons of water during the show?"
Well, no, this is my time to drink water.
This is the time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna acquiesce to Odyssey telling that's unhealthy. You're telling me to drink less water during my show? That's a lawsuit.
See, and here's this is where I'm not calling you a diva, but this from Construction Bro, you're a little bitch. I do think that to some people, this screams,
you freaking bitch.
This screams diva-like behavior.
That's fine. Listen, I'm just saying it's not an unreasonable request. You can think about it however you think about it. I don't care.
Oh no, they were hurting you so bad. Oh no.
It is not unreasonable. And I can list 17 things I've done here that are way more diva than that.
What if
that's all
Thank you so
I'm
much
saying.
for sharing that.
Let me ask you this. Instead of bringing you a cooler, what if Ryan Cooley bought you? Have you seen, there's people that go to my gym that bring these, and I cannot fathom it. They bring like the
bags of water?
It's like when you were like a little kid and you were like going to like Cub Scout camp or whatever, I swear to God, it's like, it's a giant like mug of water. That thing has to hold like 3 gallons. What if he just bought you that and then you didn't need to refill? Or do you like the small compact water bottle? Because the solution to this is just a larger water bottle so you don't have to refill it.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Text line says Odyssey just wants their employees submissive and dehydrated.
That's right. Keep us under their thumb. Or we just need a new sales staff.
You can get a Brita filter.
I mean, can they not sell that?
It just doesn't seem like it's that hard of a problem to come to a fair and reasonable solution.
Listen, if you want me back on time for every segment, I'm gonna need water right out there. Thank you.
I will say that it is a bold move. I would never attempt the water bathroom.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's
a tough one.
You got to make choices.
Sometimes, you know what? I have to admit.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I run out of there without washing my hands.
Yeah, it's tough.
I can't. I don't have time.
It's tough.
I got to get back to the show. I got to entertain the people.
I don't attempt the
resourceful little bitch.
The trifecta. I can't. You got to make tough choices.
All right. Well, the one bit of portal news I was going to tell you about is that the coaches, all the FBS coaches, are out in Charlotte right now.
Charlotte, North Carolina,
for the coaches convention, and they voted today to put forth a proposal to the NCAA to change the portal window to 1 10-day period in January. And it would be January 2nd through 12th. And they voted it. They approved it. So now there's no guarantee that the NCAA looks at this and goes, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But the coaches are the ones that are griping the most about the portal and, the time constraints and then finishing the season and then, recruiting, the whole thing, right? When we've talked about it with Lanning. And so they're the ones that have said, hey, let's just do one portal window. Yeah. It'll be early January to mid-January, and that is it. Everybody goes in, gets their guys. The only teams really affected that it sucks for would be the teams still playing in the college football playoff, but there's really no way around that. And then they still have time to enroll wherever they go. They still have time to enroll for winter.
It's great, right until
fall or
a player just sues and kicks your ass in court again, and
spring term.
Restrict it because coaches can leave whenever they want. I mean, look, the one portal window sounds great. That's not going to happen. So it's really going to be hard to get the genie back in the bottle because you're going to have to convince courts that this is a fair system for the players. And again, as long as coaches are free to come and go as they choose, which they are, it's going to be really hard to wrangle players. I do think that you need to streamline the process, but one window isn't going to get it cut. You're going to have to have you're not going to have other opportunities. Now, free agency during the season is the dumbest thing in the world. Moving it to January, but you're going to have something in the summer. You're going to have something. I would be shocked if it ended up just being one. You say 10-day window.
Yeah, they proposed January 2 through January 12.
Yeah, that's again, like the concept of it, I'm very, very, very skeptical.
I mean, when Lanning was talking about it with us, he's like, what do you suggest?
Well, it still overlaps with the playoff. It's not like it's any better.
Yeah. Well, it is better for most of them.
For most of them, but
there's really no, like, he brought it up. He said, how on earth do you do that where everyone's happy? You don't.
Yeah.
Well, you just pretend that the school thing isn't important because it's not, and you just do it in February when everyone's done with everything.
Well, and the school thing is just brutal anyway. I mean, I honestly, I told you, I listened to one time one of the Oregon, she was a, I forget what her name was, but she's one of the compliance officers, for a lack of a better term. I forget what her official title was, but she was dealing with the transfer portal and getting kids enrolled and helping kids find other schools.
It's got to be a nightmare.
Oh my God. And by the way, there's different portal windows for different sports. It's not all the same. This is just the football one we're talking about. I'll tell you, that sounds like the worst job in America. And, you know, there's just no way that academics play any sort of role in this whatsoever. And yet they still have this weird... It kind of hangs over everything because you have to pretend
it does
that it matters.
Well, I mean, it does kind of center around the school. I mean, school. It does.
Yeah. Just
wait. It's technically college.
Just wait till the first time though that a kid transfers into a place and then the coach leaves in February to go take a different job, and they say he can't transfer, and then he goes and finds his lawyer, and the NCAA is like, damn it.
Well,
we got kicked in the nuts again.
Wouldn't that be an easy one to put in the language? Like, if a coach leaves, then the kids can leave? I mean, even though it's not a portal window?
There's going to have to be something. Look, the only thing that's going to save the NCAA eventually is either collectively bargained, and then you're into pros, or Congress is going to have to get involved and pass some cool congressional rules pronto. Otherwise, this is the chaos, because players have figured out and lawyers have figured out that they got the raw end of the deal for so long. They're not going to go back to the days of them being controlled without a fight. And there's a lot of lawyers just licking their chops. Think about the fact that the NCAA got sued by 2 states and brought to their knees, to where the entire organization went, all right, well, no more of this because we're tired of losing in court. I mean, that's the thing you have to remember. This is much bigger than what's, quote, good for the sport.
All right, I've got lawsuit news and Oaks Park versus Resurgence.
Oh.
Part 15.
Yeah. I can imagine it's a bit of a deal out there.
So that's next on In the News. But first, here's Buck with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan on the hardwood tonight, the Blazers back in action hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Matisse Thybulle, Jeremy Grant remain out for Portland. Robert Williams, Denny Avdia, and Delano Banton are all listed as questionable. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. The Blazers are 5-point home favorites. Down in Corvallis, Beavers head coach Trent Bray says he will take over the defensive coordinator responsibilities after former DC Keith Hayward Jr. resigned on Sunday. Meanwhile, former Beavs QB Giovanni McCoy, who left in the transfer portal, has committed to play at Texas State. Down in Eugene, another big pickup for Dan Lanning and the Ducks out of the transfer portal as they earn a commitment from USC offensive lineman Emmanuel Pregnon. The 6'5", 320-pounder was the top-ranked interior lineman in the transfer portal. He chooses the Ducks over the Texas Longhorns. And on the ice, the Sharks up 1-0 on the Detroit Red Wings in the first period. About 3 minutes to play, courtesy of a Jan Ruta goal. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Did you score a smart speaker over the holidays? Just ask it to play 1080 The Fan.
All right. Whoa. There was some violent language being used there by you.
I'm suing.
Off the air.
Buck.
I've been injured. I'm calling Donikin.
Yeah, I went out with Donikin last night.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
I learned something. Well, I was talking about,
sad.
I've been looking to throw myself in front of a car. And we had a discussion on what sort of car that I want to throw myself in front of.
Well, probably nice.
Well, that's what I was thinking, was like
Mercedes.
new Mercedes, whatever. And they said, nay. No. You want old. You want old money.
Oh, I was thinking like maybe a business car or like a business van.
They said that if you wanna throw yourself in front of a car or just get struck by something, they liked the idea of you want someone that's a little older, a little wiser, that has really good insurance. They were thinking like nicer old Cadillac, maybe a Lincoln, possibly a solid Buick. And I was like, oh, they said, too many people that get fancy cars. It's more of a showy sort of thing.
Right.
And
they have less money than the guy with the van. But why not throw yourself in front of an AT&T van?
I like that.
We
did not.
They got way more money than.
Yeah, we were talking more of just individual cars.
I mean, no offense, AT&T.
Yeah, because I was thinking, just a nice
Sprint.
like a nice Porsche or whatever, and he was like, no, it's like I would recommend more of a Buick. So be on the lookout out there if I'm crossing and I see a Buick coming my way. Maybe I take a roll into it.
Well, if you've been injured, the advocates are personal injury attorneys. They are friends of ours. They don't get paid until you win, so it doesn't cost you a dime to consult with them or even hire them. If you've been injured, you need more than a lawyer. You deserve an advocate. Go to their website, advocateslaw.com.
We all hear the radio.
Great bunker shot by Colin Morikawa right there. Team LA up 3-0 on Team Jupiter. Tiger's getting smoked. He's worried. Look at the concern on his face.
I can't believe this is a thing.
He put one over the green and into the water, and he looked like he wanted to kill whoever designed the simulator.
Because that's whose fault it is.
Clearly. Anybody?
Pretty suspenseful. It is January 14, 2025. It's time for In the News. I'm your News Man. Hello, thank you. Pregnant pause. It's like Jim Rome. Made a living off of it.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Like,
are we off the air? No, he's back.
It's the Joey Harrington special.
Yeah, Joey does
he
do
pauses
that.
a lot.
It freaks me out. I think we're off the air, and then it's just he's still talking.
It's brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. Today is National Hot Pastrami Sandwich Day.
I do like a hot pastrami sandwich, although I like all hot sandwiches. You know what no one finds delicious? Cold pastrami sandwiches, because cold sandwiches suck.
Well, no, a hot pastrami is clearly better than a cold pastrami, but that doesn't mean a cold sandwich is bad.
We're not going down this road again.
No, we're not.
Buck, you know you're an idiot. Cold sandwich. Get out of here.
Okay.
We are going down this road again.
Well, no,
huh?
I'm going to ask this dumb sandwich question.
Ask away.
Isn't a hot pastrami sandwich, isn't that a Reuben?
Not necessarily.
No.
What makes a Reuben?
I think typically Thousand Island and sauerkraut make a
Yes.
Reuben. And Swiss, I think, right?
Okay, so if you have a Reuben and it doesn't have sauerkraut and or Thousand Island on it,
Then you have a pastrami
it's just
sandwich.
a pastrami sandwich?
Correct.
And I always
I
thought
think that's right.
Now, check me if I'm wrong. I thought a Reuben, and I'm probably wrong. I thought that was corned beef.
Oh, I thought it was pastrami.
I think you can have a corned beef Reuben or a pastrami Reuben. I think you can even have a turkey Reuben. I think the Reuben is the preparation of it being like rye bread, sauerkraut,
Yeah.
Swiss, and Thousand Island.
But it's like grilled. Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
There's
glad
a-
we covered all that.
Yeah, we did. There is a,
Thank you so much for sharing that.
I believe it's called the Kettle. It's over by the Keller. I think they make a dynamite hot pastrami sandwich. It is really stinking good.
One of the best hot sandwiches out there, in my opinion.
They slice it for you right there, and oh, it's so good.
There's also Feast of the Ass.
We talked about the Feast of the Ass before.
Ah, has it come full circle?
Yeah, I think we've brought up Feast of the Ass before. I ate ass.
That's the Christians, they it's a feast, or it was during medieval times.
Yeah.
They would celebrate the donkeys of the Bible. So they call it
Feast of the Ass.
Feast of the Ass.
You walk in today and be like, "Hey, honey, congratulations! It's what today is? Well, it's the Feast of the Ass." See what happens.
Take off your shorts and dunk me.
Who doesn't love a quality ass?
A 100.
She got a great ass, and you got your head all the way up it.
Good times.
A 147-foot drop tower ride proposed for Oaks Amusement Park in southeast Portland has sparked concerns from nearby residents who say it would mar scenic views and potentially harm wildlife in the nearby Oaks Bottom Wildlife Refuge.
What? Why would it harm wildlife?
Come on!
Birds flying
Lights.
Lights?
Yeah, lights are very harmful to birds.
Oh. Do they take headers in it, or?
Well, yeah.
That's all right. So
the new ride would be located near the center of the 44-acre property that is tucked among the trees on the banks of the Willamette River at the north end of the Selwood Riverfront Park. A drop tower takes you up in the air. You go nice and high, and then you got a great view, and then all of a sudden it just drops you, and you're supposed to scream, and for some reason you pay for that.
The Tower
Why?
of Terror, or whatever they call those things. I think that's the one at Disney.
The park said the ride would hoist riders approximately 120 feet up before dropping. It's then slowed and stops using brakes for a soft landing.
That was that kid in Florida. Remember the big obese teenager that they didn't secure him well enough, and he fell out of that thing. That was one of those drop towers.
Nice.
Yeah, it was not nice. He's dead.
Well, the park is requesting 2 adjustments to the zoning code for the property, including increasing the maximum height a structure can be on the site from 30 feet to 147 feet. And the neighbors are not having it.
Saying
They don't like
nope.
this. One, the lights are annoying to those living in homes and whatnot,
I just think you live by Oaks Park. I mean, I don't. It's like when people were complaining about the pickleball courts and whatnot.
They're also saying the biggest impact would be light pollution, one of the leading causes of bird deaths in the U.S. and often disorients birds when migrating or causes them to crash into glass buildings. So they're very concerned.
I don't know. Who are these people that get together in neighborhood besides Buck's wife and complain about? I don't know. I'm sure it's not
Poor
like
Kim
the
always catching strays.
It's not the greatest thing in the world, but just the idea that a collective group of people. This is how some lady ends up singing about there's a hole in the sky where a tower once stood. Huh?
Tree, not a tower.
Well, in this
Do I
case-
need to remind you?
In this case, it's a tower.
Unwelcome sight in the neighborhood. A developer is being greedy. There's a hole in the sky where a tree once stood.
Hey, pause.
Such a lack
Yeah,
of
a
lights
dramatic
and sound.
pause.
All that's left is bare, muddy ground.
right.
A magnificent
See, this
tree
is-
was murdered. The mighty dollar cut it down. There's a hole in the sky where the tree once was. Somebody's making money. Stand up. There's a hole in the sky where the tree once was. Somebody's making money.
She's like Billie Jean King at the Rose Bowl. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Come on!
What would it take for pop up in your neighborhood before you would?
What would it take for what?
To happen in your neighborhood before you would join some sort of coalition?
I mean, I could be talked in.
He would move before that happened.
Light pollution.
I could be talked into the loud muffler / noise pollution committee.
Oh, there you go.
So there's a meeting when you get home at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. You going for the loud mufflers?
No, I'll read the notes though.
Yeah, you're not even joining.
I like this one. Rich white people's displeasure of fun ruins happiness for others. Welcome to Portland.
It's very true. It is a very Portland story.
It is a very nice neighborhood over there too. It's a nice area.
Yeah.
And you know that those people over there do not like the riffraff coming to play on bumper boats and crappy roller coasters. You know they're not happy about that.
Yeah, they want that park out of there.
Exactly. Be damned if you're putting up a tower in my neighborhood. Lights.
I have lawsuit news. Ski lift and cannabis. That's coming up next. People suing everywhere.
Yeah.
That's coming up next.
All the advocates.
On the Fan.
This is the Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories, brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
Kobe's had a great year. As you guys saw the reports, he's going to be out, and we sure will miss him. That's for sure. Got a lot of faith in the guys in that room, but we'll for sure miss Nakobe.
Yeah. Nick Sirianni, Nakobe Dean done for the year.
Yeah, had a breakout year, and now with the torn patella tendon, he may be out for a chunk of next year. That's a big injury. It's an underappreciated knee injury, but very, very severe.
The Fans Window into Sports brought to you by Window Nation. 50% off all window styles and 2 years interest-free financing. Write me out. Schedule your estimate by calling 866-90-NATION or visiting windownation.com.
Oregon exits the college football playoff.
Got the edge, and here he goes. I don't know. 30.
On 1080 The Fan.
Boy, Tiger is just getting smoked. It's 5-0 through 6 holes.
No idea what that means, but all right.
Well, they've lost all 5 holes, Jace. It's Thunderdome.
It's hole by hole. Maybe they can drop the hammer, whatever the hell they call that dumb thing.
Yeah, see, you know. Drop the hammer.
Drop the hammer.
That means like triple the bet or something. I don't
know. Again, I would like to reiterate that I find this whole thing stupid. Like, it's ridiculous.
A man who says he had little to no experience using cannabis products filed a $10,000 lawsuit against a Portland store last week, saying an employee recommended a grossly excessive dose that sent him to a local emergency room, vomiting, loss of motor function, and an inability to walk on his own.
Vomiting?
Yeah.
Who vomits from too much weed? I didn't know that was
Sky Fitzgerald.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. I will tell you though that if you've ever accidentally taken too much, boy, buckle up. You're in for one.
He told an employee at Arcana on Northeast Fremont Street that he was a novice user. Then took the employee's advice. Hold on, I gotta sneeze.
Hold on. May God bless and keep you.
Where was I?
I don't know.
Just sit over there and look pretty.
I'm working on it.
So he took the employee's advice to follow directions on the bottle by taking about a capful of the THC syrup that they sold to him.
A capful? That seems like a lot.
The suit states that once at home, he followed the bottle's instructions, measuring out what amounted to a teaspoon of the syrup and then consumed it. That worked out to be about 40 milligrams of THC.
That's a
lot.
It's a lot. Well, and that's your first time. Well, that's I don't know. It does seem to be I'm putting that on the guy. I mean, it's your first time. You know, maybe you dip your toe in the water.
The question is, what are the laws here?
Yeah.
The Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission, the state agency that regulates the industry, does not offer any dosage guidelines for recreational users of THC.
Oh.
But Oregon administrative rules require companies to sell edible THC products to list a serving size as no more than 10 milligrams.
I was going to say, man, like for your first time, and first off, you're drinking concentrated liquid, which dangerous. Edibles for the first time, dangerous. And you're going 40 milligrams right off the get-go? My man.
But
someone should have told my guy here that you're buckle up.
The state doesn't apply a serving size limit to tinctures, concentrate, or extract, which may have been the categories that the syrup he bought fell into. So there's a little bit of gray area there.
Yeah, I got to put this one on user error. Like you got to learn when you're starting out with something. That's a trial and error thing. And my man had the trial, he had the error. You're gonna learn a lesson. But a lawsuit, get out of here.
Oregon is the one state. Washington and the government of British Columbia all go further than Oregon, and they put out consumer guides, like fact sheets, that the person at the counter can hand the dummy that hasn't ever taken anything.
Yeah,
and then you can read that, and then, then it's on you.
It's on you.
Yeah, here are the guidelines.
Look, as just say for the record that if you decide to start taking drugs of any kind, it's kind of on you. You literally are taking drugs. You should probably do a little research into that, probably work on it, and just ease yourself in. I hope this guy gets no money because he doesn't deserve any.
Fitzgerald thereafter experienced muscle spasms, psychomotor agitation, elevated heart rate, extreme discomfort, shortness of breath, nausea, vomiting, hypokalemia, and muscular paralysis.
Don't bite me. First off, no one's ever died from weed. Settle down. You had a bad little run of it there. You probably melted into the carpet for a couple hours. You freaked out a little bit. Move on.
During his hospital stay, his care providers observed that he was unable to walk without assistance. His doctors diagnosed him with THC overdose.
And there's nothing they can do other than tell you to write it out.
The owner of the store that sold him the THC says they are not at fault because it was only selling a product approved by the OLCC.
Yeah. Again, not everything has to be someone's fault. Or it's your own fault. Sometimes just dumb crap happens and, you deal with it. Some of us go to a Blues Traveler concert when you're a teenager and you eat a bunch of mushrooms and you're not aware. Again, you don't sue anyone. You just end up with an embarrassing tattoo and a lifelong story.
This guy, Fitzgerald over there, he's a Academy Award nominated documentary filmmaker who lives in Clackamas County.
Well, apparently he's a dumbass when it comes to taking weed. I have no sympathy for him.
I also think, isn't it kind of like booze in that
everyone reacts differently?
Like if I'm working at a counter at a liquor store and somebody asks me, hey, it's my first time drinking, how much should I drink? There's no set amount, right? It's like you're a big fat guy, you could probably drink a little more than the little skinny guy, you know?
Absolutely.
It's like, isn't it like that?
Yes. Not everyone. You ever meet the guy that can, like the Snoop Dogg of the group, and you're like, oh my God. Or there's just different tolerance levels, and there's no. I just can't believe someone would recommend 40 milligrams.
Well, he didn't. They're saying that he said take a couple of drops, but on the bottle it said 40 milligrams. Take a capful of 40 milligrams. He did. They're saying that the bud tender or whatever they call, did not tell him that.
I was gonna say,
but he just did that.
Well, again, that's on you. You're a dumbass. Move on.
All right, we have a man who fell off a ski lift.
Yeah, this one was kind of scary.
I'm gonna have to get to that tomorrow, or do I have time? Do you want that now?
You do not.
Yeah, I read that story.
I've been called off the ball here.
I didn't know you could get on ski lifts that didn't have bars.
I've been on them.
Yeah?
You never been on a ski lift that didn't have a bar?
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of older school ones that have them. And I think they're mostly being replaced, but there's a lot of resorts that still have ones where there's like a bar that hangs down in the middle, but nothing in front of you.
I'll tell you what, I think I'm gonna need that bar.
Look up the video. There's there was a link to it in this story. It was on Oregon Live of an Italian ski lift where the winds hit like 70 miles per hour.
Oh gosh!
And they still were running.
Really?
And there's video of it, and people were in the. Now the saving grace for these people is that it's one of those enclosed ones.
Oh my God!
You know, like the OHSU tram.
Yeah.
It's not like the ones where you just put the bar down and you're.
Oh, it's like a gondola.
Yeah, it's like that.
That's the scariest thing.
They're like in a washing machine in that thing.
Oh my God! And none of those fell?
And they're in there. No, they were skiing.
Oh my goodness! I can't believe one of those things didn't snap off.
Crazy.
Yeah. No.
Well, we'll get to that tomorrow. That's in the news for January 14, 2025. Brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. The Hot 5 at 5 is next on The Fan.
The forecast calls for wet weather. It's time for Pub Beer's Wet January Report. Remember, dry January is fine, but don't judge people that need a beer with their football. Pub Beer, cheap fun.
He gets the shotgun snap, and he gets a block from Ham, and he sets up, he's hit, he fumbled the ball, and it's picked up on the play. It's Jared Verse at the 50, near sideline 40, foot race to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown! Touchdown, Rams!
Yeah, Sammy Darnold's going to need a drink.
I guarantee you he is drunk right now.
Yeah, that was bad. It was a little delayed corner blitz, and he just never saw it coming, and the day just kind of went from there. So, yeah, Sammy... Not a good time to go dry. Hoist a few.
Dry January is fine, but don't judge people who need a beer with their football. Pub beer, cheap fun.
Every year, as many as 19% of Americans participate
are 5-point favorites at home. Down in Corvallis, Beavers head football coach Trent Bray says he will also take on defensive coordinator responsibilities after former DC Keith Hayward Jr. resigned on Sunday. Meanwhile, former Beavs QB Giovanni McCoy, who left in the transfer portal, has committed to play at Texas State. In Eugene, another big pickup for Dan Lanning and the Ducks out of the transfer portal as they earn a commitment from USC offensive lineman Emmanuel Pregnon. The 6'5", 320-pounder was the top-ranked interior lineman in the portal, and he chooses the Ducks over the Texas Longhorns. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Did you score a smart speaker over the holidays? Just ask it to play 1080 The Fan.
Good afternoon. At the tone, Pacific Daylight Time will be...
It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
One step closer to my own personal hell.
This is Primetime on Sports Radio 1080 The Fan.
We expect the best. We're not afraid to break someone. Do you hear me?
Primetime is your source for the best in local, regional, and national sports.
Go ahead and clap. Mediocrity deserves applause.
Isaac Robb.
I'm miserable. I had to get up at 10 o'clock this morning.
Jason Sakanet.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Primetime on 1080 The Fan.
All right, welcome back. Hope you're having a nice little Tuesday. It's your Sports Bros, Rop and Sook. I'm Rop, that's Sook right over there. Right here. Look at him. Look at him. And there's Ryan Buckley, everybody. Our very own Will Lutz.
Yeah.
Little neurotic, always fixing his hair. What's left of it?
That's Zane Gonzalez.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
It still throws me for a loop every time I see Buckley without a hat on. It's an unnatural thing.
Throws everyone for a loop.
Are you a hat at home guy too?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am. Well, I don't know. I just tend to always have one around or on.
Now, do you wear loungy clothes at home?
Yeah.
Or do you just wear your daily clothes?
No, I wear loungy clothes.
Do you?
I'll usually be in like joggers or basketball shorts or something like that.
Yeah.
It throws me for a loop if you go over to someone's house and they're like in jeans. They're just like
yeah, but I know
Saturday,
people like that, and I think that's pretty common.
That's odd for you?
Yeah, like if I just like if I pop into your house on a Saturday,
yeah,
you got nothing going on, you're just sitting around, you're like, oh hey Sook.
I wouldn't be in jeans.
And you're in jeans.
Especially if you haven't been anywhere yet. If you haven't gone to the store or to an appointment and you're just like, oh, I got ready for the day and I put on this plaid button up in my jeans.
My son does it and it throws me for a loop every time.
He gets dressed?
He gets dressed.
Every day for the
Yeah, just
as if he's going somewhere?
Yeah, like
even if he doesn't?
He'll come downstairs. He'll be home for like break or whatever, and he comes downstairs, usually around noon or whatever, and he's wearing jeans and like a like a button-up shirt or something, like a flanneler, and I'll be like, "Oh, where are you going?" He's like, "Nowhere." I'm like, "What?"
I'm just getting ready for my day.
Just getting ready. I'm like, "You got
tackling my day?"
I'm like, "You got any plans?" Like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, that's just that to me is odd, because if I don't have anything to do, I'll be damned if I'm wearing pants with a button, or like a
you got to
belt.
be in something comfortable.
Absolutely. I'm wearing joggers and a sweatshirt right now. When I go home tonight, I'm gonna change into something more comfortable than joggers and a comfortable sweatshirt.
Like what would that be?
It's usually a tank top and some form of oversized. In fact, my go-to right now is a pair of Kansas Jayhawk game shorts.
America, yeah.
And they just kind of sit like on the floor by my bed, and I'll go home and I'll wear those for like 2-3 straight days.
Flags.
Now
that's the like the Mr. Rogers. I'm comfortable. I'm going to change into something more comfortable.
I do feel like the comfy clothes oftentimes get shafted on the wash.
Yeah.
Because you're like,
I wore it for a little bit.
Yeah.
They're fine.
I'll wear it again tomorrow.
And I'm not wearing them around other people.
Yeah.
It's just my wife or my
those Jayhawk shorts will go at least, I'm going to say a minimum 8 days before they get washed. Yeah, those are going to be around a while. And the missus will be like, she'll put those in the hamper. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, those are fine. She goes, well, they're on the floor. I'm like, exactly. They're going to right where I left them.
Yeah, that's where I need them.
Coming back
They're
tomorrow.
put away.
Exactly.
They don't look it, but they are.
They're there.
All right, well, I'm glad we covered that.
Yeah.
Coming up this hour, what is next for the Steelers? We had that left over from yesterday.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin was talking about that today.
And we will wrap up the college football playoff semis. We haven't even talked about it.
No.
Well, we did. Not. We talked about Penn State, Notre Dame, but
we
weren't able to talk about Ohio State, Texas.
No.
Playoffs.
That was
Friday.
That.
Yeah. And then tomorrow we'll turn the page and get to some Ohio State, Notre Dame talk. Coming up tonight in the club, Buckley has a new die on that hill gripe, and I am here for it. I love it.
Really?
He's pulling a Schultz.
Oh, that's a bold move.
Oh boy, I am.
Buckley,
think so.
Never go full Schultz.
Okay, well,
that's dangerous.
I'm not sure that I went that far, but okay.
Well,
I'll hear it.
It's kind of similar. It's just like it's one of those things that he is. There is a bee in his bonnet about this, and it's great. In that it's one of those things that like. I mean, I see why, but it's like, wow, he's really fired up about like Schultz.
Well, I know what you're talking about, and a couple of these instances have popped up because of the time we're in right now, and I'm like, just stop making it about you and yourself and your
we'll get
monies.
to it.
I'm intrigued.
We also have a story of this is a wheels off story. Okay, so you've got a falconer for a sports team.
A falconer.
I just want you to think about that.
Okay, so they're
a
in charge
sports
of the
team
bird.
has its own falconer.
Like Auburn would have a falconer.
Sure,
They got
probably,
the war
yeah.
eagle. Yeah.
Well, he then goes and gets his penis redone, reconfigured, penile implant. I don't know, whatever they call it.
Really?
You would know more about that. And he shares the results of such on internet, and he has now been fired, and so team needs new falconer. That is the story that we will cover.
Well, I'll be damned. You can get
In the
fired
club.
for that, huh?
A lot going on in Lazio.
A lot going on in Lazio. This is in Italy.
Interesting. I got questions.
I mean, that's a wild story.
That is a wild story. Who knew that who had falconer penis on their bingo card?
Penis enlargement.
I did not. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Well, quite frankly, I side
let's
with.
talk more about the penis enlargement. What?
I've never seen so much dong in my life. Let us know about your experience.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
I side more with the falconer guy.
Oh, well,
I mean,
I'm going to need.
That's his own.
I'm going to need details. But you can't, was he
that's,
showing it?
That's the problem.
He
Well,
put
we're going to find out.
I'll tell you right
Together.
now, you can't do that. That I know.
Well, he did get fired.
Yeah.
So he obviously did something.
I think a rot penis on Instagram probably gets you fired.
I don't have Instagram. Not even possible.
Maybe TikTok.
Don't have that either. Right now, though, very sports. The Hot 5 at 512. You know what the solution to that is? Touch our penises more often.
Hot topics, hot opinions,
Oh, Charlie, I'm hot today.
and hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food. Discover Victorico's new savory menu items. Order in-store, online, or get it delivered straight to your door at victoricos.com.
He's going to go get him one of those Milwaukee Butter Hogs.
Number 5.
Ah, man, another dagger from the LA team. Sahith Theegala.
Will they ever recover?
Big putt.
And will anyone ever care?
Fist pump.
When does this thing die?
Oh, there's like 8 more weeks of this or something?
Blazers host the Nets tonight. Speaking of dying.
Yeah.
They're 5-point favorites.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
The Nets are bad. They've lost.
Bad.
I read that they've lost 16 of 20.
Yeah.
And 5 straight.
Well,
I don't even know who plays for them anymore.
They're 13-26, so this does have some implications.
Cam Thomas?
Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell. And by the way, they're like all out. Nick Claxton.
Ah, Claxton's still there.
Yeah.
I like him.
Seriously, like their entire roster is day-to-day or out. They're out blazering the Blazers.
Well, DeAndre Ayton is good to go. Jeremy Grant out. Robert Williams, I think you said, is out.
He's questionable with an illness. So is Delano Banton, also illness.
I will tell you, the amount of like mysterious we're not playing, it's ramping up for the Blazers.
Robert Williams is at like 85% clip of the season. He's never in.
It is impossible to keep up. Like, it is a nightly. If you bet the NBA, which I don't, but if you do, how do you even keep up with all this?
Well, and like half the Blazers are out with like minor contusions. The Blazers lead the league in missed games because of contusions.
Big portal news, FBS coaches vote in favor of a proposal that will reduce the transfer window to a 10-day period in January. They are at the coaches convention in Charlotte. The new window would begin this time next year, beginning January 2nd and run through January 12th.
And we'll see what happens once you try to restrict player movement again and people start suing. That seems to be the problem is anytime someone tries to come up with something for college football, you just get sued and lose. So good luck with that. I have and by severe doubts, I mean I just can't see a way it's going to happen where you have one portal window. Not when coaches can leave whenever they want.
This is now sent to the NCAA Oversight Committee and ultimately the NCAA Division I Council for approval, which is far from a guarantee.
Well, yeah, because they know what's going to happen. They've been losing in courts lately. And by lately, I mean for years.
As expected, Dodgers have a deal in place with Japanese pitcher Roki Sasaki.
What?
Dodgers' over-under win total is now at 104.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Their rotation, I want you to think about this. Their rotation will be Shohei Ohtani, Roki Sasaki, Blake Snell, Yamamoto, and Tyler Glasnow.
That's just stupid.
That's the best five-man rotation I've ever seen.
Yeah. This is like remember the Phillies had one a number of years ago where they had like all
this is better.
Yeah, this is better. I mean, it's like the Braves, like they're laughing at the '90 Braves with Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz. I mean, this is. Oh, and it's a good thing they don't have any bats. Oh wait, yeah, they've got a bunch of
all the bats.
Hey, the Mariners landed Donovan Solano yesterday. Today they trade for Cubs infielder Miles Mastrobuoni.
Mastrobuoni?
Yeah, he's a Mariner.
Right.
Yeah.
Get
they
excited.
got him.
God, if you're a Mariner fan and you're just sitting, you're like, what?
At this point, it seems like a bit that they're doing. So he hit one. Yeah, that guy. He hit 194 last year.
Hey, he'll fit right in.
So he's been added to the 40-man. I bet you somewhere Schultz, he's pissed. And I'm here for it. I want to hear it.
Yeah. From Johnson to Hand, and the batter will be Mastrobuoni.
And then we get to hear at the end about, hey, I thought we made enough moves. 54%.
Colorado coach Deion Sanders issues a short statement on social media saying he has spoken with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys about their head coaching vacancy. He finds it intriguing, but he also loves Boulder and everything about his team. So read into that what you will.
The Cowboys would have to pay about an $8 million buyout. It makes about $6 million at Colorado. My guess is that he's going to ask Jerry Jones for $12 million, and we'll see what happens.
There is a report that the talks are ongoing.
Yeah.
It's very serious. He is one of their top candidates.
Yes, this is not one of those just kind of fly-by-night things. It's interesting because he said that he wanted nothing to do with the NFL, and the players couldn't handle his style, but we're about to find out.
Number one.
And number one, Oregon State coach Trent Bray says that after Keith Hayward stepped away from the defensive coordinator position, that Trent Bray will be the new defensive coordinator.
Trent Bray has all the confidence in the world
in Trent Bray.
Now, I mean, we do see coaches that are coordinators, mostly on the offensive side of the ball. He said that he's going to look for someone to take over some of the linebacker duties, which he coached. He'll have a co-defensive coordinator. It's not that unusual, but if they don't hire someone called the defensive coordinator, that would be a bit odd. But maybe he doesn't like the candidates out there. Maybe it's a financial thing, or he just wants to take a defense that was very bad last year and put it in his own hands.
Meanwhile, another portal win for the Ducks as they land former USC offensive lineman Emmanuel Pregnon. He's the number 2 interior offensive lineman in the portal. He was USC's top guy, and it is thought that he would turn pro, but he did not.
Yeah, he's second team all Big Ten, and the Ducks have done a nice job. They got 2 of the better tackles in the portal, the kid from Texas State, and then the Nevada is Isaiah World, who people say are going to be, he's going to be a first-round NFL guy. You throw in a second-team all Big Ten selection, you bring Poncho back. Really, the only spot that's in question right now is probably the other guard spot. If Bedford comes back or not, but all of a sudden you've kind of rebuilt your offensive line again through the portal.
Victorico's Mexican food is a hit with the whole family. Order in-store, online, or delivered to your door at victoricos.com. When you think of flavor, think of Victorico's. All right, up next, what is next for the Steelers when we return on The Fan? Hey, it's Rob sticking around for Window Nation, where right now you can get half off all your windows. You put it off. I know you did, 2024. I was telling you about it, but you didn't listen to me. Well, the good news is that Window Nation is still here for you. And 50% off all window styles, and you can pay nothing with no interest for 2 years as we kick off the new year. That's the deal that they have going on right now. So They can always install in a day or less. All their windows come with a lifetime warranty, and 96% of their windows that they install require no follow-up service, which is a key because sometimes if you get them installed wrong, you could have problems and pay a lot of money down the road, and that will not happen at Window Nation. So to get on their schedule for a free no-obligation quote, you can call 866-90-NATION, or you can log on to windownation.com. Two ways, 866-90-NATION. Or windownation.com, and please tell them you heard it from Isaac on The Fan.
What? 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 What?
How long do you think I could play that?
That's a banger right there.
It is. How long do you think I could do that before somebody turned off the radio?
I think someone already did.
Yeah, you're probably pushing.
What?
You're pushing the boundaries.
Come on,
right
that's a
now.
like you
That's
said.
gold, Jerry. Gold.
How long would you have to do it before you got an email from one of the bosses?
Old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be.
Oh, they don't listen.
Nah.
Well, wrapping up the wild card round, we have yet to talk about what happens with the Steelers. We did talk about what happened with the Vikings.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's further away, the Vikings or the Steelers. Probably the Steelers.
I think the Steelers probably.
But that's a good franchise. They got a good coach. They got some guys there, but like Minnesota, they got to figure out what the hell they're doing at quarterback.
Well, they got to figure out what they're doing at quarterback, and really they don't have. I mean, Pickens is really their only viable weapon, and the dude's a moron. Like, you can't.
Yeah, but you got some guys on defense. You got Watt.
Yeah, but it's also the most expensive defense in the NFL, and the most expensive defense in the NFL just got run through, and I mean run through, by the Baltimore Ravens. So I think that's the most disappointing thing if you're Pittsburgh is you don't have a quarterback. You have a ton of money loaded up onto a defense that is a good defense. It's not elite. And if you have the most expensive defense in the NFL, it's got to be better than what you showed. And you just you don't have a back that you feel particularly good about. They didn't pick up the option on Najee Harris. Warren's okay. You don't have a quarterback, and you don't have a receiver. I mean, they are.
Well, the GM's got to get to work.
They
obviously
are further behind than I think many people want to believe, including Mike Tomlin. And he came out and said that, he's committed to this. And the problem with Pittsburgh is Mike Tomlin continues to overachieve, and they continue to beat bad teams, win 9 or 10 games, get to the postseason, but they're not going anywhere. They're kind of like what Portland was for all those years in the NBA. They're just good enough, and I would make the argument that being in purgatory is maybe the worst place you can be in the NFL. And I'm not saying I'd fire Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach. And Tomlin kind of scoffed at this, but I would certainly be open to the idea of someone trading for Mike Tomlin to try to go get some draft capital, because I don't know where Pittsburgh goes. I think they are kind of wandering in the desert here a little bit.
I think there are some people that are going to look at this and scoff, but golf.
Well, there's only 6 teams that have 0 playoff wins since 2016.
And they're one of them.
Because the Commies got off the schneid with that win in Tampa.
Yep.
So the 6 are the Raiders, Panthers, Cardinals, Dolphins, Bears, and Steelers. Now, the only difference between the Steelers and on those other 5 teams is that the other 5 have all changed coaches at least 3, if not 4 times since 2016. The Steelers have not changed coaches once. That's what's odd about it.
Yeah, well, because he doesn't have bad years. He is the definition of a rock solid coach that the players love, and he's built a great culture there, but
he's certainly not the problem.
No, he is not. But, when you go back and we know that this is a quarterback driven league. And once Ben Roethlisberger retired, what have they had? And I'm sorry, but Russell Wilson is not the answer there, and neither is Justin Fields.
Kenny Pickett.
Well, Kenny Pickett's not the answer either. I mean,
and he's in Philly.
And
they had him.
They tried, and Kenny Pickett didn't work out. And this is the problem. They have not been able to hit on their Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts in the 2nd and 3rd round. And they've never really been high enough to draft one of the elite guys in the top 3 or 4 because, they're not a bad team. So I think there's real problems there. And even TJ Watt came out and said that he wants to be part of it, but he said that there are major issues there. And look, Cameron Haywood, I got to look how old he is, but I mean, dude, that dude is long in the tooth. How old is he? So he was born in 89. What does that make him?
70.
He came out in 2011, See, you throw him getting older. TJ Watt, not that young anymore. Queen, not the same player that he was. I mean, and Minka Fitzpatrick's good. You think you have a good one in Joey Porter there. So, I mean, again, there's some pieces there, but if I'm Pittsburgh, I do think it might be time to rethink the strategy, because I think what you've been doing for the last, going on 7-8 years, it's not going anywhere. And if ultimately the goal is to just put a decent product out there, fine. But if your goal is to get over the hump and win playoff games, I think Pittsburgh is a lot farther than anyone wants to admit. In fact, if I was betting futures and you gave me the Pittsburgh Steelers, or I'm going to go look at teams that did not make the playoffs this year, and you wanted to say, where are they going to be in 5 years? I think there's brighter futures for some of those teams than Pittsburgh. And certainly the teams that got eliminated at the same round. You look at teams like the Chargers, you look at teams like the Broncos.
What about Cincinnati in that division? Would you rather take
Yes.
Bengals 5-year futures or
Yes.
Steelers?
Cincinnati all day, every day. And they have their own problems because they have an expensive defense that sucks. Pittsburgh has an expensive defense that's just okay. But you have elite weapons in Cincinnati and you have a quarterback, and Pittsburgh does not. So either Pittsburgh has to find a way to do whatever, commit whatever resources to find a way to get a quarterback. In fact, if Pittsburgh had any smarts, what they should have done is what the Rams did all those years ago and make a play for a guy like Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
And
they might go get Rodgers.
It's easier said than done, but Matthew Stafford was a long way from Aaron Rodgers when they went and got him. But
yeah.
You know, it's just it's going to be a tough.
Don't you think
it's going to be a tough hill to climb?
Don't you think Rodgers to Steelers makes some sense if Rodgers is still out there next year?
Yeah, if he's interested, yes, absolutely. Because
Vikings too.
You're just not going anywhere. And this is like when they started 4-2 with Justin Fields, and everyone was like, "Oh no, there is always going to be a ceiling on you," and you don't even have anywhere near the team to surround a very average quarterback like that. So, like, take the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons didn't make the playoffs. I'll take the Falcons' future over Pittsburgh any day of the week. It's not even close. And
I don't know that I would.
I would.
I trust the Steelers org.
Why?
Well, because they're a winning franchise.
Yeah.
You know,
to win 9 and 10 games.
Well, again, I mean they've won Super Bowls. So they're not always winning just 9 and 10 games. They are certainly in that right now, but I just think that's a good franchise that, you know, I mean, they'll figure it out. I think they're smart. And ultimately they kept Tomlin, which is also smart. I mean, they've only had they've had 3 coaches since Chuck Noll, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Chuck, Cower, and this guy?
Yep.
So I think they get it, and hopefully, I don't even know who their GM is, but hopefully they'll make a couple moves here and you know, get back in the hunt there.
I just don't see it.
I just don't think Atlanta. I don't know.
I don't see where they go.
Atlanta just doesn't. They seem to kind of be spinning wheels, even though they have some good young players. But
Pittsburgh needs 1 year of hardcore tanking, where they all get together as an organization and they just say, "Hey,
good number 1 pick
for 1 year, we're going to be dog S, and we're going to draft a quarterback, and we're going to go from there."
I don't think it's in their DNA, man.
No, it's not.
By the way,
that's
Buckley.
That's a team that really could have benefited from and give the Rams credit because they had a quarterback and they're like, nope, we need to upgrade. Matthew Stafford in Pittsburgh all those years ago would have been an absolute game changer for them.
Buckley sent this. It was somebody that tweeted this, but he was asking, are these hollow numbers, or does Mike McCarthy have an unfair reputation? Because if you compare Mike McCarthy to Mike Tomlin and Sean Payton, boy, you know the reputation difference between those 3.
Absolutely.
Here are their numbers. Playoff appearances in total seasons. McCarthy, 12 out of 18. Tomlin, 12 out of 18. And Payton, 10 out of 17. Division titles, McCarthy, 8. Tomlin, 7. Payton, 7. Playoff win-loss record, McCarthy 11-11, Payton 9-9, Tomlin 8-11.
Yeah.
And they've all won a Super Bowl.
All won a Super Bowl.
So they're the same guy. Why do we hate McCarthy?
I think the idea with McCarthy is that he was propped up by Aaron Rodgers, and he had some of those really awful losses when in the postseason when Green Bay really was good. And then it's same thing kind of in Dallas, good regular seasons, whereas I think Tomlin gets the credit because his teams are never that good. And he's like, it's Mike Vrabel was this way too.
Well, but he had Roethlisberger.
He had Roethlisberger, and they won a Super Bowl.
Peyton had Breeze. Like, I don't know about the whole propped up thing, but I get it. Rodgers was a different, like he was
and
perennial MVP.
And Peyton, you know, dealt with a lot of cap and bad situations down in New Orleans where he kind of went through the dark ages there. But it's a valid point that Mike McCarthy does not get the benefit of the doubt. He is the most hated Super Bowl winning coach that you will ever see, and people just don't give him credit. They do not. They don't prop him up.
Yeah, I heard somebody say about the Cowboys with McCarthy. They said, you know, McCarthy is interesting because when the bar is really low, he absolutely destroys it.
Yeah.
But when the bar is high, he doesn't come close to it.
Yeah.
And that's very true.
Yeah. And
McCarthy.
I think when people look at his time in Green Bay, I don't know if anyone looks at New Orleans or that Pittsburgh team and say they should have won more Super Bowls. I guess Pittsburgh was there. You could make that argument. Certainly not New Orleans. You could say New Orleans was lucky to get there one. When you look at McCarthy and Green Bay, it feels a little Atlanta Bravesy that you only got one of those. Those Green Bay teams were really good, and you had the best quarterback in the league that was winning MVPs. And those were loaded teams. And remember, like the Seahawks playoff, like the blown fourth quarter on that. Like, I think that's the one that kind of sticks to McCarthy. Whereas it feels like Tomlin and Peyton get credit for elevating their team. Whereas, like you said, McCarthy, I just think he gets remembered for having elite teams that never showed up in the postseason.
All right, we'll wrap up the college football playoff semifinals. Coming up next, here's Buck.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Reynolds Defense Firm. If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys that you can put your trust into. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on the Fan. On the hardwood tonight, the Blazers back in action hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Matisse Thybulle and Jeremy Grant remain out for Portland. Denny Avdia, Robert Williams, and Delano Banton are all listed as questionable. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. The Blazers are 5-point home favorites. Down in Corvallis, Beavers head football coach Trent Bray says he will take over defensive coordinator responsibilities after former DC Keith Hayward Jr. resigned on Sunday. Meanwhile, former Beavs QB Giovanni McCoy, who left in the transfer portal, is now committed to play at Texas State University. Down in Eugene, another big pickup for Dan Lanning and the Ducks out of the transfer portal as they earn a commitment from USC offensive lineman Emmanuel Pregnon. The 6'5", 320-pounder was the top-ranked interior lineman in the portal. He chooses the Ducks over the Texas Longhorns. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The inside story on the Blazers, Ducks, and Beavers. Danny and Dusty. Weekdays noon to 3 on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan. It's time for Who's Leading the Charge. A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
Now Jacklin back the other way, shorthanded with Nico Sturm. Scores! Nico Sturm with the shorthanded goal, and it's 2-0.
So anyway, Tiger Woods' team is down 8-1 to the LA team. No, what was that? What am I listening to there?
Well, that was my Sharks putting it to Souk's Red Wings, making it 2-0 off of a shorthanded goal in the Motor City, but it's
he's not in the room.
No.
He doesn't care.
So that troll didn't work at all.
He's boycotting
that. I think he's out.
Who's Leading the Charge? Powered by Battery Exchange. Mention code BXT10 at checkout for 10% off your entire purchase this month online at batteryexchange.com. We've got one more college football game, and that's on Monday, which will be right here on the Fan.
I don't think we are on the air.
No, we're not.
I think we're off.
Because we're playing the game.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And we talked about the Notre Dame-Penn State game because we were on Friday the day after that game, but we have not been able to speak about Ohio State getting there and how they got there.
No, which did not happen the way that you thought it would. We talked about that it's hard for college teams to play 3 games in a row at their best. We knew that Texas athletically was going to be Ohio State's biggest test, if you want to say athlete for athlete. And as good as Oregon was, Texas to a man is a more athletic team. And I thought Texas on defense had a really good game plan, and Will Howard didn't look like the Will Howard we've seen over the last 2 weeks.
That game did go how I thought it would. I'm the idiot who went 0-2 on bets that I bet on Penn State.
Yeah.
And I bet on Texas, both against the spread.
Yeah.
And I lost them both. And yet I'm sitting here thinking I was on the right side of both.
You probably were.
Like Penn State.
You were on the right side of both of those games.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, because Texas is getting ready to punch it in if they can get it in from the effing 1 yard line.
Although there's no guarantee Ohio State doesn't still win by 7.
Sure.
That's true. But I think the way that game was going and the way Texas's defense was playing, if Texas scores a touchdown there, that game ends 24-21 or may go to overtime. Screw me yet. But the point is, Texas was able to drag Ohio State into deep water. We knew they had the athletes to do that, and they did that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that Quinn Ewers, who is good, he is good for 1 or 2 turnovers every game. He did it again, twice.
Well,
and then Sark, dude, explain to me, when you're on the 1 yard line, I think it was a 1.
Yeah. 1.5, whatever.
Why and Sark's supposed to be like this smart offensive guy.
Yeah.
Why are you running a toss sweep where you throw the ball 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage and run out with the athletes on Ohio State? Like, walk me through what the hell he's thinking.
It's the best explanation I can give for it, right? And that I'm with you. I hate 2 things in this world when it comes to short yardage. I hate shotgun snaps and I hate pitches because you only need a yard.
Yes.
Why
are you going back 5?
Why are you going back further? I don't understand it, right? Tush push, QB sneak, it works. But this will be my defense. I want to double check this, but I believe that the first time they did that, it got stuffed. And if you go back and look,
the first time they did what?
The Texas tried to run it in.
The first play they did.
The first play they did.
And they didn't get it.
And they did not get it. And if you look back, both Oregon and in the first one, right? When Oregon was going down to try to seal the game with a touchdown, Oregon got stopped inside and held to a field goal, right? Which gave Ohio State an opportunity. It got him the ball back. What did Oregon do? Try to run in between the tackles. When Penn State had the ball inside the 1 with the chance to take hold of that game against Ohio State, what did they try to do? Run in between the tackles. It's really hard. Ohio State is very stout in there. And so I the only thing I can think of is that when Texas knew that was going to be tough sledding in there, especially when Ohio State is playing their bare front and they've got everyone covered. They can muck it up and they've got big boys in there. So my guess is that when they tried to do that and it got stuffed, I think the idea was that Texas believed that Ohio State is going to sell out and that they thought that they were going to catch Ohio State sleeping and try to get it to the outside. Yeah. That's the only argument that I can make. And a lot of times those pitch plays can work.
Boy, I don't see it very often, even in the NFL.
Especially against a team like Ohio State that does run, and you got a Caleb Downs that can run out there, and you really have to be able to set the edge, and they did a piss poor job of setting the edge, and lo and behold, you end up from the 1, and now you're at like whatever was the 6 or 7, and then we know what happens.
There are 2 plays in football that I just absolutely hate, probably irrationally. One is the toss sweep.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's a bad play.
Yeah.
And 2 is when they just hope for a receiver to make a play in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah,
like the fade route.
Yeah,
especially on a do or die play. If you're 3rd or 4th and goal and you're throwing end zone fade, your coordinator's just saying, "I'm going to coin flip this."
Why not? Yeah, exactly.
No,
it's so dumb. But these supposed offensive minds do it all the time. That was maddening that Texas was not able to tie that game. And then of course Quinn Ewers, Sawyer.
I'm just shocked. And this is when it's 1st and goal at the 1. You got to take at least 2 cracks.
Yes.
You got to take at least 2 cracks. And then if that doesn't work, then I understand on 3rd down, saying, all right, we'll try something different. Whether that's the pitch or not, I'm with you. I don't love the pitch. Some people think if you seal that, and again, when a team is selling out to stop the inside run, and I think that's why you saw it on second down, as I do believe they thought they were going to catch Ohio State sleeping. They did not. And to be fair, Caleb Downs is one of the best safeties in the country. He comes down, blows that play up. And
where is Arch Manning?
Exactly. And they'd done that earlier in the game.
They brought him in and he nearly fumbled.
Well, on that series?
No, I'm just saying earlier in the game when they brought him in to run.
They did.
He got drilled and he almost gave the ball away.
Yeah, but they've been doing that with him all year.
You will never convince me from the Seattle Seahawks on down that when you have multiple cracks on the one, anything other than quarterback sneak or just ramming it right in at least 2 times, you will never convince me that that's not the right way to
Well, and I've seen it pointed out, too, that even if you try that 3 or 4 times, if you turn it back over to Ohio State, they haven't been moving the ball on you. They're at their half-yard line. The worst-case scenario, you've got timeouts and you can get the ball back at midfield.
Yeah.
I think I just tried to come up with a justification for it, but I feel the same way you do. I'm just explaining, I think, why they did it. But looking back on it, there's no reason for that. And then the Sawyer one,
nice play.
Crappy play by the right tackle, got dumped under, and then he just made an unbelievable play, strip sack, pick it up, and
Ewers held on to the ball way too long.
Yeah.
But the other thing about the toss sweep is that if it doesn't work, it's not like you get another crack from the 1. Now you're at the 6 or the 7.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
I wish I could make it a better argument, and there isn't one.
Goal line offense, because Penn State had a little trouble too against Notre Dame, although they shoved it in with the run. They ran it a couple times.
Yes.
But they got stopped too.
Yeah.
When they tried to get cute.
You have 4 cracks.
I know, but it just seems like it's so hard. Like nobody can effing do it.
Well, look, and this is coming from a former O-lineman. It's just an awful situation when you're down there and everyone knows what you're going to do. It's just a rugby scrum at that point. And it's a challenge, but 4 downs, my God. And if you are trying to get on the edge, then, whether that's a jet sweep, whether that's a read option with your quarterback, there's better options.
Yeah, there are better options.
But better options.
Let's talk about just ramming it in.
Yeah.
There's a drop.
There is a drop right there. You're Texas, and I get that Ohio State has studs on the defensive front, but you're Texas.
You're Texas.
You just said when you're an offensive lineman, when you're down there, it's a scrum.
Yeah.
Dude,
you have 2 All-American
I'm not getting
tackles.
cute. I'm calling my guys over and saying, effing MFers, you need to win 1 of 4 snaps against your guy right here, and we get this touchdown. That is it. I'm calling 4 in a row.
Yep.
Win 1.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do, and yet they can't do it.
And I think that's probably the thing that will haunt Texas more than anything else is that
stupid.
And I've heard it said that people think that the film study cost Steve Sarkisian. I think Sark got scared by the fact that Ohio State in 2 of their biggest games came up with goal line stands with teams trying to cram it down their throat.
Yeah.
And I think Sark got scared. And I think he tried to do something out of the box. And, it turns out it was maybe the worst decision that he's ever made as the coach of Texas. And did that lose them the game? No. But
look, it was a tie game going into the 4th quarter, and Texas was 1 yard from tying it with whatever that was, 7 or 8 minutes left. Yeah. Or maybe it was less than that, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I think it was only
like 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 minutes. I don't think it was that much. Let me see when that went down.
The most misleading final score of all time.
Yes, it absolutely was. There was, 2 minutes and 13 seconds.
Okay.
So I mean that was the
game.
game.
So that's where I think that Texas covers if they score there.
Yeah.
Because if Ohio State just drives down, they're settling for they're just trying to get in field goal range.
Yeah. But I mean, it just.
I'll be damned.
That will haunt Texas because they did enough. They slowed down Ohio State. They did an amazing job. One, they have the best corner in the country. He didn't shut down Jeremiah Smith. They ran bracket coverage on him. He got 2 or 3 guys rolled to his side all game, which, by the way, can I point out, if you're one of Tennessee or Oregon, like maybe think about that. I mean, look, this is one of those, like, I'm not trying to throw shade at anyone because I'm not in the coach's room and I don't have I don't have the all 22. I don't know what the game plan was, but I will say that Texas had Barron. I forget what his first name is, but Texas has the Jim Thorpe Award winner, the best corner in college football, who will be a top 12 pick in the NFL, and they gave him safety and nickel help over the top of Jeremiah Smith basically all game. Maybe, just maybe, that was a good plan. Like, I understand, like, you can't, like, focus all your attention, but I just think it says something that a team that's that athletic and that good in their back half spent that much time trying to take away one player. And by the way, it worked. He was a non-factor in that game.
What did he even have?
Almost nothing.
Almost nothing. No, and it freed up some of the other guys.
It's like one catch for 3 yards or something. It was
1 for 3. You're right.
1 for 3.
Oh man.
And that freed up, Tate had a decent
nice
day,
game,
but in Emeka Ibuka. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather live with that than watching Jeremiah Smith, put up 180 yards and a couple tutties on me in one half. So I really thought Texas came up with a sharp game plan, and it wasn't enough.
It was a compelling game.
It was,
and that leads us to Ohio State, Notre Dame, Monday.
Which needs to be the same sort of game. Notre Dame's got to find a way to muck it up.
Well, I don't think anyone has any faith in Notre Dame.
I don't think so.
Because, they're banged up beyond belief, and they don't really have that great of an offense anyway.
No, their 1-0 lineman that went out, at least the tackle, they've ruled him out. He's done.
Well, and they just, if you look at how they got there, I don't want to take anything away from them. I really don't.
Yeah.
But we got to call a spade a spade. Drew Aller had the worst game of any quarterback ever, not named Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Or else they lose.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Who'd they play before that?
SMU then Boise.
Yeah.
No, that was Penn State.
You're talking about Aller, right?
Notre Dame. Please try to pay attention. I'm talking about Notre Dame.
Georgia?
Oh, Georgia. Yes, Georgia.
Backup quarterback.
With their backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And then before that, they got Indiana. They're just better than Indiana. Yeah. But that wasn't, they had a 99-yard touchdown run. Otherwise, that probably should have been worse than it was.
It did feel like the Texas-Ohio State game was the national championship.
Well, not even close.
So,
no, that being said, I don't want to, and we'll talk more about Notre Dame, Ohio State tomorrow. Notre Dame, all they do is drag you into mud.
Yeah.
They're great at that, and their defense is really good, so I'm not counting them out. But, I don't know. This bracket was funky this year. It's weird. It's a weird year in the college football playoff. I loved every minute of it, but this final, it
feels
the real
a little
final.
anticlimactic, and it kind of feels like last year where Washington was a good team. We knew who the better team was, and it bore itself out, and I think you're going to see that. I'm with you.
Except you don't have Michael Penix.
No.
Notre Dame.
You have Riley Leonard. You have God, though. You got Jesus. And Jesus is having a big moment in this postseason, so.
Yeah, he's rising up.
Yeah. Does Ohio State have Jesus? Is there anyone on their side?
Well, Will Howard seems to be pretty.
Yeah, he's a Jesus guy.
They have Bucknut, the fan,
Yeah. But boy, I'm telling you, Notre Dame's leaning hard into that.
Is Ryan Day going to be a national champion?
Yeah.
Is Chip Kelly going to be a national champion?
It's going to shut a lot of people up. And then we're going to just get you weren't born on third base, dude. You were born halfway home. Say what you will.
Hey, will you shut up?
Give Ohio State credit.
100%. They were left for dead.
Got their they complete. Think about this. They lose a heartbreaker in one of the toughest environments to play in college football at Oregon. And what do? They revamp their entire defense based on that. They lose 2 All-American offensive linemen and have another one go down. Reshuffle their O-line. And then they lose an absolute soul crusher to their arch rival. Cost himself a shot in the Big Ten title game. Ryan Day is going to get fired. Fans, fans aren't showing up to the game. 30,000 Tennessee fans show up. No one has any faith. And they dog-walked Tennessee, who everyone thought was this great SEC team. And then here comes Oregon, the number 1 team in the country, dog-walks Oregon. And then they play a deep water game against a team as athletic as and they come up with a big goal line stand.
Not even that, just the play by Sawyer.
Dude,
the fumble return.
Say what you will, give Ohio State, if they finish this thing off, all the credit in the world. And if Notre Dame finds a way to do it, build the damn statue of Marcus Freeman, because that is one of the biggest upsets that I can remember in a championship game if Notre Dame pulls this off.
Talk more about that tomorrow and later in the week. We'll wrap it up next with The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics, brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Well, I'm not in love with the kid's name. Pregnon? You need to turn on your mic. But
maybe it's Pregnon. Is it French?
Pregnon.
I don't think so.
Emmanuel
It's probably
Pregnon. His name is Emmanuel Pregnon.
Well, he was the number 1 interior lineman. They got the number 1 tackle from Nevada, and they got the number 3 tackle out of Texas State. So the offensive line, which was supposed to be an issue, does not appear to be an issue anymore. So, I mean...
And if you don't like the name, Isaiah World, who they got in the portal, great name.
Great name.
And he's the real deal.
Worldwide.
Yes.
Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
If you're considering new construction and want it done right and fast,
Did you know, I didn't know this until Buckley brought it to my attention. Did you know that Ryan Day and Lou Holtz have major beef?
Yeah, I do remember this.
I kind of forgot about it or like scrubbed it.
He called him soft or something?
Yeah, we'll get to it tomorrow. We have audio and it's great.
Well,
Ryan Day absolutely hates Lou Holtz and it's wonderful.
I don't know if there's a man that I I can't say that I ever thought much of Lou Holtz, but I always considered Lou Holtz probably he was a lovable kind of old, it's Lou Holtz.
He was a good coach.
I can't stand Lou Holtz. I think that guy is a
Well, I don't get brain man cold, but
Well, he's an old white guy.
He just,
How old is he now?
He's got to be in his 80s, right?
I don't know. I asked you.
I'm going to say 80.
I want you to have that information.
I'm going to say 85. Oh, 88.
Ah.
Lou Holtz. Every time
He gets made fun of a lot for his lisp.
Yeah, but I love it.
But-
And I just used to think he was adorable. But every time he opens his mouth, I think something ignorant, probably a little mildly racist and uncomfortable comes out of it. He's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, he's kind of exposed himself over the years.
Yeah.
When you start to learn who these people are,
yeah,
sometimes you don't like it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened with Sweet Lou.
That's me with Lou, and
he was really nice to me. Remember, I chased him down at midfield at the
national championship. Yeah, it was the Ohio State.
Which one was it?
It was the Ohio State Oregon national championship.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Glendale or Dallas?
That
was in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw him at midfield, and I had my I was a little sports reporter, had my little tape recorder on me, and I interviewed him about the game.
Yeah, I wanted to play the fun game of what does Lou Holtz smell like, and you said exactly the way he looks.
Yeah, leathery.
Yeah. Old Lou.
But he was really nice to me. So.
Yeah. And to say, and by the way, Lou Holtz may be a good man.
Well, he could have been a real jerk.
Yeah.
Because it was late and he was trying to get out of there.
And he may be a sweet man. He's not my cup of tea. But I can't say that he's a bad guy.
Do you think he listens to the show and can't stand you?
My guess is that me and Lou probably don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but hopefully we can find some common ground. You can find common ground with a lot of people if you
your love of America.
I'm not certain that our America is the same, but yes, the love of the country.
All right, well, we'll get to that tomorrow. I've got some audio. It's great. If you ever want to see Ryan Day go all high tea, which is, as we've talked about, is kind of odd, when he goes all high tea.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's just not that kind. I don't know. It doesn't really work for him.
I wonder if all of that goes away. If they win this, I still don't think people are going to give Ryan Day any credit. I really don't.
Well, he might not. Whatever. He doesn't care.
They're just going to say it's the most expensive roster ever built and blah, blah, blah.
But anyway, if you really want to hear Ryan Day go all high tea, puff up a little bit.
I do.
You're going to hear that tomorrow.
Maybe the highest tea I've ever heard him.
Yeah,
or he's ever
he
been,
does not like Lou Holtz at all.
He's got beef with an 88-year-old invalid.
That's right. That's right.
You gonna take shots at Lee Corso next?
Well, is Corso a Golden Domer?
Maybe
he's
Corso
an Indiana
calls him soft.
Yeah. I do think he picked Notre Dame, not against Ohio State, but he picked him because remember he was dancing with a leprechaun and damn near broke his neck.
Well, I don't know. I think it's funny how Lou Holtz calls him soft, but like the whole country does, but he picks Lou Holtz calling them soft as the real problem,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you can't you can handle everybody on all the talking head shows
but Lou Holtz
calling you this, but when Lou Holtz says it, you're livid. It's weird. It's a weird flex.
I do remember when that happened though.
We'll get to that tomorrow. Up next is Club 1080. We'll start with Buckley's newest Die on That Hill gripe. And then
full Schultz.
We have the Falconer fired for the
in Springfield.
Whoops. Sorry, that was a misfire. The Falconer fired, Team Falconer fired for the oddest of reasons. Something Big Sook will likely be fired for soon.
I'm intrigued by this story. I got to know what my future holds.
That's next on The Fan. Isaac and Sook here.
The Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by PG Long Floor Covering, carpet, hardwood, or laminate flooring, cleaning, or restoration. Call PG Long, your Northwest flooring experts, pglongllc.com. First on The Fan on the hardwood tonight, the Blazers back in action, hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Matisse Thybulle and Jeremy Grant remain out for Portland. Denny Avdia, Robert Williams, Delano Banton, all listed as questionable. Tip-off at 7 o'clock. The Blazers favored by 5 at home. Down in Corvallis, Beavers head football coach Trent Bray says that he will take over defensive coordinator responsibilities after former DC Keith Hayward Jr. resigned on Sunday. Meanwhile, former Beavers quarterback Giovanni McCoy, who left the school to go to the transfer portal, has committed to play at Texas State University. In Eugene, another big pickup for Dan Lanning and the Ducks out of the transfer portal as they earn a commitment from USC offensive lineman Emmanuel Pregnon. The 6'5", 320-pounder was the top-ranked interior lineman in the portal and chooses the Ducks over the Texas Longhorns. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley from 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan. The following show may contain adult themes not suitable for children.
Shut the hell up.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Souk.
It does go well with a chicken.
I didn't know hanging out with you was making me smarter. Full disclosure, Morty, it's not. Temporary superintelligence is just a side effect of the mega seeds dissolving in your rectal cavity. Oh, man. Yeah. And once those seeds wear off, you're going to lose most of your motor skills, and you're also going to lose a significant amount of brain functionality for 72 hours, Morty. Starting right about now.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Souk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of Cheap Fun.
We will
Yeah, let's do that.
And it makes me sad.
And you look at Coach Day, and I
surround yourself with turds. You're headed towards Turdville.
Yeah.
Come on, Rob! Ahoy!
What? I don't think I could eat beaver. What?
John.
What?
You have a lot of players.
All right. Why'd you do that?
Mike Francesa.
Oh. Is he still doing a show? Is that guy still on?
I think he does like an internet thing.
Big deal.
Does he?
Yeah. I don't know if he does a like an actual radio show anymore, but like
Mike Francesa.
Dude, everyone has a show. I mean, seriously, everybody. Alex Jones is back on the air.
Is he?
Yeah.
On like real or is this his own platform?
His own platform. I think it's on like YouTube. Like Tucker Carlson does one like on Twitter now. Like he does his own. Like
Yeah.
There's an audience out there. All you got to do is sell some vitamin pills and get mad at California fires and
the Mike Francesa podcast.
Yeah, that stuff's everywhere, man.
Why don't we podcast?
I think we do.
Oh.
We do podcast.
Yeah. What I'm fascinated with is that how many people download the Mike Francesa podcast. Like at one point, that guy was like the biggest thing in sports radio.
Think he still is?
I doubt it, but I mean, obviously he's got enough fans. I mean, there's probably people that still listen. I mean,
Well, download numbers, it's quantifiable.
Yeah.
We can find out.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get those numbers, but
I'm guessing he's not going to tell you the real ones, but
Well, no, but you can find. I mean, you can get them. Like you can't hide your. I mean, download number. I mean, it's all.
Yeah. I'll do some digging around and see if I can find.
See if you can find some sports podcast download numbers.
I'm often amazed at like what's popular and like what's growing, and you see like
there's some really bad stuff. Like I try to watch like I don't know. I'll look at some college basketball because I'll go to like more the local regions of like say you're looking at an SEC game or something, and you there's a podcast down in the South that covers college. Boy, it's rough.
Yeah. There's some
rough.
Well, and I'll do that too. Like I'll just go on like Spotify and I'll type in college football preview, right?
Yeah.
And some of the stuff is
it's just some dude
I'm
in
with you. Yeah, it's
Marietta, Georgia.
Yeah. Well, and then you realize at one point, like Hawk Tuah Girl is the #1 podcast in the world, and you're like,
and now it's Kylie Kelsey, I think.
Yeah,
Kylie Kelsey. Oh, Jason
Kelsey's
wife.
Yeah,
She's a hot.
Yeah, I don't know if
she is the #1 podcast.
I don't know if it still is, but at one point,
it just came out and
just
it ascended to #1 immediately.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's still there, but yeah, there's some.
Here's the podcast charts.
Yeah, there's some stuff out there that you're just like, wow.
Joe Rogan, #1. Who is Sean Ryan? The Sean Ryan podcast is #2.
I don't know. I don't know
Who's
who
that?
Sean Ryan is.
Who's that guy?
Sean Ryan.
Former U.S. Navy SEAL.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he goes. I think he is a Rogan guy too. I think they're of the similar.
So Rogan's like the Oprah now, where everybody that goes on his show now then has the best show or the top shows.
Navy SEALs are certainly having their moment right now. Navy SEALs, the CIA people, they love that. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I listen to Star Talk a bunch.
That's with what's his nuts?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
And it's always stuff that I can't fathom, and I feel like a total idiot. But I find that stuff fascinating. There was one I was listening to the other day, and they were explaining about the is it the head-on?
The what?
Remember the big proton accelerator? It's like the hard-on?
The what?
What is that thing called?
I don't know.
We've talked about it.
The hard-on accelerator?
Remember when they were building this thing, they thought when it turned it on, it was a chance that it could destroy the world.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Mel Robbins. The bonus rewards program kicks in.
Mel Robbins, she's third. Whoever that is.
Now I'm going to look this up because it's bothered me. Someone has to know out there. Someone knows what I'm. Yeah, the HADRON, Hadron. Look up the Hadron Collider. It's a large particle accelerator.
Wouldn't that be Hadron?
Hadron.
If it's HADRON.
Yeah, Hadron.
Okay.
Hadron.
What about it? What do I need to know about? Why are we talking about this?
Well, this is the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing.
God.
Like every time you tune into that, you'll have something and you'll be like, what the hell? And you won't understand it, but it'll blow your mind. So they were talking about how that accelerates particles, and they go almost the speed of light, and what that means. And the idea that if you could get a ship, right, to eventually move at that same sort of speed, it's the idea of like Interstellar, the movie. Like we could travel to a different galaxy.
Yeah.
Something that's thousands of light years away.
Well, let's get on it.
So it was explaining how in physics and how the particles go around and how you could theoretically do that. And you could travel to a different galaxy in the span of minutes.
Well, what are we waiting on?
But here is the catch, right? So he said going there, it would be like 4 minutes. You would get there.
That's badass.
To come back.
How long?
40 million years.
So you're not really coming back anytime soon.
So it was like this whole thing where he said that, and it's all theoretical.
So you don't come back.
Yes, you don't come back. So he goes, it's really this weird duality thing is that you could go and see what is out there in this distant galaxy, but you would never be able to share the information back. And they got into this whole thing about that
Would you go
travel, and it was like, oh my God.
What if I offered you that?
No, because chances are you get out there and it's just space in like planets that you couldn't do anything with.
It's like Al Capone's vault.
Yeah, you just get out there and you're like, damn it. And then you're stuck out there, and I got loved ones and kids. But basically it was the realistic idea of what Interstellar, that movie, is about. And the guy was talking about it for like 45 minutes, and I understood about a quarter of it, but I could not. Like stuff like that blows my mind, as opposed to Joe Rogan talking about the deep state and the Navy SEAL on there about how our country sucks and, Jewish space lasers. I can't with that, but people love it.
Buckley's dying on this hill, and we're going to get to that next on The Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. We're talking with Josh. Hey, you had a stat the other night
So, our dear friend Ryan Buckley over there.
What's Buckley pissy about now?
Well, he's not a pissy fella, which is what makes this funny to me.
I wouldn't even say I'm pissy about this. This is just
no, it's just it be in your bonnet, and I love it, and I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
He's got a Schultzy bit, because Schultzy like gets overwhelmingly upset about like really mundane things.
See, that's where I'm like, I don't think I'm overwhelmingly upset.
Well,
about
it's not exactly the same. Stop being so damn sensitive.
The fact that you keep saying that leads me to believe that deep down this does bother you.
It just kind of is in the same category as something Schultzy would go off on. Yeah. But Buckley has called it to our attention a couple of times, and he's done it again today with the fact that there are 12 professional sports teams in Los Angeles, and they are coming together to donate a mere $8 million to support the victims of the wildfires in Los Angeles. And to Buckley,
this is like the David Spade $5,000 thing?
Yes, it is. And I tend to agree with him. $8 million from 12 teams, including the Lakers?
The Lakers, the Rams, the Chargers, the freaking Dodgers?
It's in your city.
Yeah. Like, I mean, look.
See, he is fired up, and I'm fired up.
It's a drop in the bucket.
That is so low.
That is kind of shocking.
Taylor Swift gave $10 million on her own.
I was gonna say that's a little. She gave $10 million.
Yes.
So Taylor Swift gave $10 million, and Stan Kroenke, the owner of the Rams and every other sports team,
gave a little over $600,000.
Really?
Yeah. If it
12
was all
million total.
If it was all done exactly evenly, but it includes MLS teams and stuff like that. So they might not have all paid the same, but
I always try to be careful with this because, when the Hawaii fires hit, I think The Rock and Oprah donated $1 million each, and people gave them crap too.
They sure did.
And they're like, really, Dwayne, you're giving $1 million? It's like,
Well,
it's hard to tell people how to spend their money, but it does seem shockingly low. That of all the sports teams that are there collectively, you could only raise.
Yeah.
You raised a little more than Taylor Swift on her own.
I think what it is, by the way, I just snoped that.
Snoops, right? Is it Snope?
Snope.
Yeah.
And there is no evidence that she has given $10 million. She has not, in other words, she has not put it out there that she's given $10 million, but that is floating out there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think the idea, which is why I think it's funny that, Buck calls him out on it. The idea that you are donating to a cause should generally that's
great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's great, and we'll all just lay off because you're donating to.
Sure.
But no, not Buck. He takes it a step further and says, there is an etiquette to this.
Steve freaking Ballmer's involved here. He gets up and he pees $8 million.
And I'm going to call you out for being charitable. And that's great. That's what I love about it. And like I said, I agree with him. There is certainly it's just a bad look. Nobody's saying that the LA teams coming together to donate $8 million is a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest look for you, though.
No, it is not. I mean, you're right in that Steve Ballmer. How much is Steve Ballmer worth? $17 billion?
Oh, more than that.
What's the Ballmer worth? He's worth a lot. But
$52 billion.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm seeing 125 billion.
Yeah, 125 billion. You're right. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the wrong. 125 billion. You can't
these
peel off.
12 teams are rallying together to come up with $8 million.
$8 million. And by the way, that $8 million is going. I mean, that's just it's a
in
drop.
the LA. That's gonna take care of 2 families.
It's a drop in the bucket.
Now, do you think? Okay, so here's. I don't want to give him an out, but is this a thing? And I would have no idea because I'm not rich. But if Ballmer is going to donate a big sum of money, he would probably do it through his personal,
as himself, as
opposed to if you're talking about taxes and everything. Yeah. He's probably not running that through the Clippers. He's doing that.
Yeah.
On his own,
probably.
Right.
And maybe that's it. Maybe all of these owners are doing far more than this on their own. But
right.
We didn't see that publicized.
Right.
I hope so. Again, I don't like to
call him out, Buckley.
I don't like to tell people how to spend their money, but
you're going to, and so is Ryan Buckley.
That's pretty.
So I don't know if these numbers check out, but somebody basically ran the revenues of all 12 teams and came up with what a percentage $8 million was, and they said that it would be the equivalent of somebody who makes $50K a year donating $100 to fire relief.
Well, that actually, when you
that puts it in perspective and makes it sound like okay,
that's not bad.
But
yeah. I mean, $50K.
The person's like, so all you out there who are criticizing these teams, have you donated your $100? But
well, I haven't.
Well,
I haven't
busy
either.
raising awareness. That's what I'm going to do.
No, you're not.
I'm going to raise awareness. Hey,
get little wristbands.
Not only am I going to raise awareness, guys, thoughts and prayers.
T's and P's.
I'm going to get a lot of thoughts and prayers. I'm going to raise a lot of awareness, and I may or may not buy an LA Fire Department T-shirt. How about that? That's the best that I can do.
I called and checked on my buddy in LA.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
He's doing all right. Had to evacuate, though. He did. I mean, he showed me a picture that he took right before they evacuated from his front window. Mm-hmm. Oh, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff was like right over the hill from him.
It's horrible.
It didn't get there, but
at some point, I'm sure that there will be some sort. Like they're doing they're going to do the concert. Have you seen this?
No.
Yeah,
Are they doing a big
they're doing
Live Aid thing?
They're doing a Live Aid sort of thing. They said they're only got 24 slots, and the problem is that everyone wants to do it.
Ooh.
And now they're having to figure out
who gets
the cut.
Well, you get cut from that list. You can't feel terrible, can you? You're getting cut because
I think people are going to be pretty. Look, these are the biggest people in the world, and you know that there's 24 slots. You know that someone's going to be 25, and they are going to be livid because this. Yeah. Look, I get that this is all about raising money, but you know that there is some really slimeball people in the music industry that are going to be like, this is a big deal for me, and I want to be a part of this, and it's my name out there, and and they're not gonna make the cut, and they're going to be pissed.
Yeah. I mean, I was initially looking at it like, well,
why do you have to cap it if it's going to be so popular and bring in so much money?
Well, there's only so much. What do you?
Well, you do another day, do another extend it by an hour.
Beers Buck again. Like what? That Live Aid concert. Why don't you just keep doing it?
We have other artists who are willing to bring money in, but nope, we just don't have the time.
And it's going to be at Ballmer's Place, and they said it's going to be absolutely huge. And
Tay-Tay will be there.
Yeah, Tay-Tay and Beyonce
they'll be there.
I think are the two that have been confirmed.
Bono won't take no for an answer. He'll just force his way onto the stage. He'll be in there.
Yeah.
Maybe some Pearl Jam. Maybe some Eddie Vedder.
I don't know.
He's usually pretty.
I don't know. Yeah,
although he's a Northwest guy.
I'm
trying to think of all the LA guys, LA peeps.
Well, I think that's everybody.
Red Hot Chili Peppers will be there.
Well, I see. I don't know if the Chili Peppers are going to make the cut.
They're quintessential LA.
I don't know if they're going to make the cut.
I get what you're saying, but they're the LA band. Like they'll make it.
But I'm saying when that happens, they'll do the little donation on the screen. You'll get my $50 or whatever, Sure, at some point. I haven't. I have not. I haven't even seen necessarily where to donate yet. I mean, I guess I've seen some of the Red Cross stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, they've done it on the football games.
Yeah, the football game.
They get Sad Voice and then they come on and say, "Please donate," and they show you the Red Cross number.
You don't know where your money's going. I think that bothers some people too.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a big operation like that.
Yeah, it's huge.
You also kind of have the thing of like, well, I mean, come on. There's a ton of people donating. This is I feel like little guys like you and I want. Is it self-serving to say you want your charitable donations to maybe go a little further?
Yeah.
Like you want to find something that.
Exactly. This would be more, and I don't know if this makes me an ass, but along those lines, it probably does because I am an ass. But I would be more inclined, let's say your buddy.
Yeah.
Like you came to me and said, hey, man, my buddy's house burned down. They don't know what they're going to do or whatever. I'm doing a little something. That would be much, I don't know, easier. I would be more inclined to donate the $100 to your friend than I would to just.
And you may even donate more.
Yes.
Than you would for something like this.
Because I feel like with the Red Cross thing, I feel like, again, it's going to be people writing tens of millions of dollars. It's like, I have one of my special aide at the BTJ, one of her friends, they're just normal people, right? They're not rich, they're not poor, they're probably the definition of middle class. And he donates to the Washington State NIL Fund. Like he donates a decent chunk of change. And I know that at times money gets tight for them, and I just always scratch my head at that. And I want to be like, man, like you are just, that is spitting in the ocean. Like the only way that NIL has anything is that like someone comes along and writes a big fat check. Like you, like donating your few shekels, like that doesn't do anything. And I and that's probably a terrible approach, but I feel like in these sorts of, there's $150 billion of damage. I feel like my $50 doesn't do anything, whereas my $50 to your friend, I feel like it could.
Well, I think it is a terrible approach, but I have the same one, and I feel like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It's that, like the last thing, I'm trying to think of the last thing I donated to was Mike Lynch, his GoFundMe.
Yes.
Same.
And that's, it's personal.
Yes.
Like and so that changes things. And not that the LA thing isn't. I have friends down there, but I don't know. There's something about I don't want to be like you and be a total ass.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying. Look,
well, yeah.
I should probably stop there.
Probably.
There's just something about
it's weird. There's a weird kind of disconnect, and it feels so large that again, it just feels like it's just it's a drop in the bucket that's not doing anything, going anywhere, and it just feels like me just giving, like you're just giving something away.
Is it
you're
bad
just throwing it in the trash?
Is it bad to say that? A lot of those people are really rich. I mean, I know they're not all.
Well, some of them are, and some of them obviously aren't.
I know, but I mean that factors in. I see now I'm being an ass.
Yeah, that is
but
an ass.
It's like.
But like, and I would like to believe that David Spade isn't getting any of that relief money, right? I would assume that that's going to the people that really, really do need it.
And that's where your comment comes in of like, is it? And do you know that? And if I don't know that, am I really going to send?
That's why it's easier for me to like, again, an individual GoFundMe for an individual family or an individual animal cause or something like that.
Yeah, see the animals now. You got me. Like I am a sucker for any of those animal ads.
By the way,
there's
a bunch of the dogs and cats are up here in Oregon now.
I saw that.
They're trying to find some homes.
There's some new ASPCA ads. I don't know if you've seen them because they used to do the Sarah McLachlan thing.
Yeah.
But it was so sad that people wouldn't donate.
Mm-hmm.
You know that whole thing?
Yeah.
Because it was so sad they would turn them off.
Oh, it was heartbreaking.
Well, they have new ones. Yeah.
For the fire or just new ones in general?
That's a good question. They might have been for the fire, but I saw it's been on recently.
Yeah.
I tell you that gets me every time.
Yeah. Those are.
Does that make me an ass that the animals I want to donate to more than the humans?
No, man. I've said it with these fires. Every time I see a video of like a deer running to a fireman to try to help it, or like that stuff, it gets me as emotional as anything else in these. And that's sad because people are dying and lives are torn apart, but there's something about the animals that it guts me.
Did you see the viral video? There's a video of like what they think is the origin of the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy filming, and he is down the hill a little bit on the trail, and he's filming up at the fire, and it's getting bigger, and there's smoke and everything. And he's like, isn't it weird? He's talking to somebody with him, and he says, isn't it weird that we were just standing right there, and now there's this big fire up there? Well, what ended up happening on the video, 2 kids come running down the trail from the fire.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
2 kids.
There's like teenagers.
Like oldish teenagers, young adults.
Teenager guys.
You imagine if some...
So they don't know who they are.
Around up there,
they're screwing around.
They say that that we shouldn't accuse them, but
authorities would like to talk to them.
That is the thing.
Wow. That's God. You imagine being those, and if it's not intentional and they were screwing around, the anxiety level of sitting around. I mean, wondering like, do I get caught? Do I turn myself in? Oh my gosh. I mean, you're a murderer. I mean, unintentional maybe, but you've killed people. And this is a valid point, and this is why I said I kind of feel like an ass. Someone said, if 50,000 people drop something in the bucket, it's a lot. If everyone says it's only a drop, it's nothing. It's a valid point.
That's right.
And like I said, at some point...
That's why we're a-holes.
At some point, I'm sure I will donate to something. I guess I haven't seen... I don't know. I just haven't seen a lot, other than the NFL games and the Red Cross thing. I haven't seen a lot of that. And someone else pointed out that I think this is true too. with a lot of these massive organizations, I do think people are hesitant because they think that it gets siphoned off to overhead and it's not the most, and I think that scares people. And again, to something of this magnitude, I think most people believe that there has to be some sort of giant, really power players to come in. And it's the same thing with the Maui fire. Like when The Rock and Oprah are asking people to donate their $50 and people are like, dude, Oprah, you're worth $1 billion.
Can I add one more thing to this?
Yeah.
About donating monies?
It's a very personal thing for a lot of people,
Don't you
too.
think that there's so much of it out there? You just can't, you want to help at all times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you can. But you can't.
No.
Because there's so many that if you did, you would, you just can't afford it.
Yeah.
So that leads people to say, well, not this one, or I just donated to that other one, or this isn't as personal to me as that one. And so people pick and choose.
Absolutely.
Because of that, because there's so many of them. Large or small.
Yeah,
See, there's one right there, redcross.org.
Oh.
Just came on the screen.
Yeah. And again, isn't it weird that it's the emotional response? Because when I see that doesn't make me log on to redcross.org. But something,
I'm going there now.
But something at some point I guarantee it. There will be some ad. There'll be something. There'll be a fun. Something will grab me, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to do that. I don't know. There's got to be a skill behind that, right? The people that put out the emotional ads or whatever to grab people by the heartstrings.
Hey, you can donate blood and win tickets to the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Redcross.org.
Yeah. Do they need? Is that a big need right now in California? I guess it's always a need, right?
See, here's the thing. Okay, so you go to redcross.org and it says you can make a difference, and this big red button says Give Now, and it's just a generic donation.
Yeah.
It says your support of our mission brings hope and help to families in need, crisis big or small.
Yeah.
So you donate a one-time amount, $75 up to $1,000. It says here. They give you the little tabs, and that's it. That's all you get to. So you don't know where that's going.
No. And so I just Googled, again, how to donate to the LA fires. There are, California wildfire relief. And then this one is emergency fire disaster. Here's the LA wildfire housing relief. Here's the Red Cross. Here's the Los Angeles Fire Department.
Here's a little pull-down tab. It says, I want to support, and then it's got a tab for disaster relief, California wildfires, your local Red Cross, blood services, or you can just send it to where it's needed most.
Yeah.
So they do allow you to send it where you want it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
It's tough. I don't know.
Well, you're a bad guy.
I'm just gonna do it right now. What did you say? It was $100? $100? That was
for
the
what?
equivalent.
For 50. If you make $50K,
whatever the
12 LA teams combined to send $8 million, which is the equivalent of somebody who makes $50,000 sending $100.
So someone tell me, what is the best organization to donate to?
It sounds like it's Red Cross.
Red Cross?
I don't know. I don't know, bro.
I feel like everyone's doing the Red Cross.
What am I going to tell you?
That we're going to break. I think that was it.
Well, Buck, stay on them, okay?
That's right.
Stay on people and their donation amounts.
And you know what? I can't remember who it was. I'll hunt them down eventually. There was a golfer that was like, ooh, I'm going to donate $250 for every birdie. Oh, really? Is that what you're going to do?
How many birdies did he make?
I don't know. It's just like that. Your sponsors couldn't hook you up with a little more than that?
Yeah, that stuff does.
That's bad.
Yeah, that's...
For every birdie for how long? Just for one tournament?
I think for that tournament last weekend or something.
All right, I'm doing this. All right, I found for the animals. The greater good charities for the LA fire animals. This one's getting... There you go. All right, I'm going here. You can help save injured pets and help them be relocated. Yeah, I'm going here. I'm going with the animals. I'm going with the pets.
By the way, somebody asked what happened to Mike Lynch. If you don't know, we just kind of glossed over that. Mike Lynch, our former producer, has ALS.
Yeah.
He's battling ALS, and there is a GoFundMe for him up to about $50,000. You can search for it and help him out.
Yeah, and we still sell the shirts
on the
swing
on the internet.
Swing shirts, and that money goes to Mike. And
Yeah. We're thinking about old Mike.
Yes.
Our buddy. All right, we got to go. Are we on SportsCenter time? I don't even know. We went a little long.
We are on SportsCenter time.
Okay,
correct.
here's Buck with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Brian Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan on the hardwood tonight, the Blazers back in action hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Matisse Thybulle and Jeremy Grant remain out for Portland. Denny Avdia and Robert Williams, as well as Delano Banton, all listed as questionable. Tip-off is at 7. The Blazers are a 5-point home favorite. Down in Corvallis, Beavers head coach Trent Bray says he will take over defensive coordinator responsibilities after former DC Keith Hayward Jr. resigned. Former Beavers quarterback Giovanni McCoy has a new school. He'll transfer to Texas State. And then Eugene, another big pickup for Dana Landing and the Ducks out of the transfer portal as they earn a commitment from USC offensive lineman Emmanuel Pregnon. The 6'5", 320-pounder was the top-ranked interior lineman in the portal. He chooses the Ducks over the Texas Longhorns. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan.
Hey, it's Zook for A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Before getting a new train system installed, I was guilty of getting one quick fix after another. Then I found a team that educated me on how to keep my house comfortable, and they showed me the difference between a cheap stopgap and an affordable long-term solution. So don't get caught in the cycle of spending as little as possible again and again and again. Solve your HVAC issues for the long haul. Call A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air or visit
He was born in Orange, California. And he, this last weekend at the Sony Open, one tournament in Hawaii. It's actually worse than Buck laid out.
Yeah.
He offered to donate $250 per eagle and $100 per birdie for that tournament to disaster relief, fire relief in LA.
So he donated like $1,500 or something.
I can't find the. I mean, there were eagles out there at that tournament, and there were a lot of birdies. I mean, I would imagine he made. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Like probably 4 or 5 birdies around.
Sure.
Maybe a couple eagles. So, $2,500. No, wait, yeah, like $2,500 maybe or something.
Yeah.
So he's been properly shamed because he has now said that he will continue that effort through the coming weeks. And I like him. He's great. He's a good kid.
Look, at the end of the day,
Yeah, 15 birdies and 1 eagle.
Yeah, so he had six. So he gave $1,750.
I would say at the end of the day, it's still charity. You're donating your money,
And he's definitely doing this from the right place. It just had the wrong look to it.
Well, he's young, so he's not worth it. I mean, yeah, they say his net worth is like $5 million, so he's not.
Well, but this
rolling in dough.
Dude, this goes for all of us. So I would say over the break, I did kind of feel like an ass. That whole conversation made me feel bad that we had. I felt terrible. I donated $100 to the animals of the LA fire.
But
look, I can donate. I can donate. My bar tab last night was more than $100. So, this is why
you lush.
This is why. Well, I was out with people. This is why, and there may have been some other things involved too. This is why you got to be careful because yes, $1,700 for him is laughable.
He has career earnings of $13 million.
Last year he finished, with a earnings of $7.9 million.
Yeah, and he's only probably 25, maybe.
So I'm just saying, all of us here could donate a lot more than what we've donated, and you'd be fine. And yet,
This is why it's funny that Buck is he's on these people.
I know.
He's like a Karen. He's not having it.
See, I think that Thigala is doing it from the right place. I think these sports organizations are like, hey, look at us being helpful and awesome, propping up our brands.
Is it possible that you just kind of get guilted into it and you're like, I don't know.
They don't even want to in the first place. They're like, I guess if I have to.
I felt shame. I literally felt shame that last segment that we were all like, I don't know. And it's red.
Yeah.
I felt like an absolute D-bag.
Well, you are. Does that $100 make you feel better?
Not really.
There you go.
I still feel terrible.
Let's talk about just ramming it in.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. What?
At least I can say I did something.
The Falconer story. Do you want to get to that next?
Yeah.
Do we have time for
I
the
don't know if we
Falconer
have
story?
time.
It involves a penis implant.
We're gonna have 30 seconds when we get back.
I don't think we are. Well, maybe we are. We'll see.
Probably.
All right. We'll be right back.
The